So give y'all a minute to come in. This is a 901 flip 19 on the Sacred Seal. And we watching it. We watching everything play out. Is the title, Chiefing with the Chief Edition. So I'm gonna go on over here and do some invites. And as I do these invites, I'm gonna spark me up some. You know us Chiefs, we loving the Chief. So I'm gonna spark me up something that people get a chance to come over here and see what we talk about. So FYI, I got Dr. G tomorrow at I think 8 Eastern, which is I think 10 Pacific, which is 9, wait a minute, which is 7, no, that's not right. 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Western. So I'm inviting people in right now. I don't know how many they're gonna let me invite. Last time they let me invite a lot of people, but I don't know how many of them made it. But I'm just, doing what I do. About to be chiefing. And while I'm chiefing, I actually don't have jack to talk about. I was just watching the Empress on YouTube, and I've been trying to get on here for over an hour. Every time I try to get on, I run into a phone call come in, all kind of stuff. So we're gonna let some people come in and drive the direction of the subject matter. But I have been having a ball watching Trump sick his doge on people. Get him. I still gotta watch this video of Elon and his team going through Fort Knox. I haven't seen it yet. Brother sent it to me, and I haven't had a chance to look at it. So, homeboy Oliver, Kyra. Okay, so now, what's going on with y'all? I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna look. These people been clowning. They butt sore. They butt sore because they auditing the money. You have to know what you have if you're gonna know what you can spend. And they just been spending, and nobody's been checking the accounts, verifying the payouts, making sure they going to the right places, to the right people at the right time for the right reasons. They ain't been doing none of that. Now all these politicians is sitting up here acting like little kids. They crying because mama won't get them go get the popsicle. Mama won't let me have a popsicle. Daddy, mama won't let me have a popsicle. I'm trying to get into this account and they freezing me out. So it's good. It's good. It's good. So before we go any further, if anybody want to come in, send me a request, and we can talk about whatever. I don't really got nothing to talk about. I was just saying I haven't had a chance to see the Fort Knox video, but that's gonna be so good when I see it. It's gonna be like drinking cold water on a hot summer day. I'm telling you, it's gonna be like drinking cold water on a hot summer day. That's gonna be some relief. What's going on, Renee? Lex, what's up? So they want to cry foul because we, the people, want to know where the money going. About the ones activated. Hold on, let me see what that say. Uh, you talking to one? So Jay Scroggins said, "Rod, can you talk to us about the ones activated between 1990 and 2003 by the master teacher's voice?" I can't speak for all of them. I can only speak for me because that time frame you mentioned is when I came in tune with Malachi's teachings, and a lot of people um, didn't understand back then that we was actually fighting a war using conjure magic information. And that's, you remember back then Pops was putting out, first he was putting out the Nubian Islamic Hebrew editions when I met him. So when I came across his information, they were Hebrew Israelites. Then in the early 90s, he shifted and opened the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, moved from New York to Georgia. And I'm watching this and I'm like, what's this all about? And then he started butchering all of the religions, the degree of Mohammedism, the degree of Christism, the degree of Mosesism, where he addressed all of the 360 questions that he had wrote as an answer. So he had a 360 questions to ask the Orthodox Sunni Muslim. They got mad and wanted to kill him because he was asking questions. And it's like I've been saying since I can remember, before I met Pops, if anything above question is beneath me. And then when I read Pops say the same thing, I said, we on the same frequency. I got to find out who this guy is. And then when I'm watching how they removing leadership out of the community, right? What are they doing? Lying. When they tried everything else, see, you got to look. They tried to charge Baba with arson because the Sunni Muslims bombed one of his mosques in New York before he left. And they sent a guy named Nusir, who was an Orthodox Sunni Muslim under the Blind Sheikh, to assassinate Malachi, but the Swords of Islam was on guard for it, right? So that didn't work. So now they tried to assassinate him, then they tried to frame him up, and neither one of them worked. Whenever they exhaust every effort to take down one of our leaders, they have to charge them with some shit that the allegation is the evidence, right? People don't know how to read paperwork, especially court documents. They don't understand court procedures. They don't understand this. Look, lawyers have to read a book called, like for instance, Michigan court rules, the rules of the court. They got a book that the lawyers study. It's called Rules to Criminal Procedures, How to Address Criminal Cases. I read all that stuff. So when I'm looking at everything and I'm seeing what I'm seeing, I'm knowing it's a fix in the game, but I don't know what it is yet, and I can't speak on it until I know what I'm talking about. When I found out that all of the so-called victims had this genetically traceable strain of herpes, Malachi didn't have herpes before the case. He didn't have herpes in prison. How can he have it long enough to give it to these kids? Because this is how they tie them all together, which is called a fundamental aspect of the case, like a main thread, right? So under that main thread, I'm like, nah, that paperwork ain't matching up, right? You got 30 years of STD testing that no herpes come up. The prosecutor bring in a report saying he got the same genetically traceable strain of herpes as the victims, but he confused. So his doctor tell him, well, when you get where you're going, go get tested. He in prison get tested again, and he still don't got it. He ain't the perpetrator, but there is a perpetrator. Let that sink in. So he's taking the fall for somebody in the community with this same genetically traceable strain of herpes that if they put it under the microscope, they gonna know who did it. I ain't gonna go too much into that. But a lot of the Nuwabians know what happened. They was there. They seen it. They lay eyes on the dirty players plotting the plot and didn't say nothing. And if you sitting there, my mama say the sealer is as bad as the stealer. You sitting there watching these people orchestrate this plot to come up with a whole false case in order to remove this man so they can have access to his wealth. That's all it's about. It don't got nothing to do with him teaching nobody the wrong information, misinformation, or none of that. They had a whole bunch of people come at him and ain't none of them been successful in proving his information wrong. As a fact, time goes by, it becomes more and more truthful, the things that he got written in his hundreds and hundreds of scrolls that he write. And so when I'm sitting here, I'm like, wait a minute. All these motherfuckers sit here and watch this man get set up. And now, while he gone, they all got their hand in his pocket. They living off his work. They living off his books. They living off his lectures. And they not sending him shit. They want to raise money for lawyer fare. They want to raise money for bail, but he ain't got no bail. They want to do all these fundraisers, and he never see a dime, and he's nowhere in the position to clean his house up, and that was the whole purpose. So you got 30 years or 20 years of people using this man's name to live their life high on the hog while he's sitting in this motherfucking cage. Godfather buried alive. Shout out to Shine Barrows. Just Godfather buried alive. You can't say it no better than that. It's a little different with the government involvement in the downfall of Larry Hoover and Angel Bay and Big Tookie. That's a whole nother animal. It's when the people you love and trust the most turn on you that you become the most disgruntled. And if he got any wickedness in him, it wouldn't be no witnesses breathing. It wouldn't be no witnesses. All of the ones that made that stuff up, they wouldn't be breathing if he was about the wrong thing. He would have been wiped them out. He could have stopped. He could have had the people prepared to stop the feds from arresting him. He had the army to do it, and he told them to stand down. He said, this is a spiritual war. It's bigger than y'all can see right now, and I can't explain it to you in terms you can understand. Right? Look, if you want to see a farce, they got a court TV case with the brother they called H. Rap Brown back in the day, known as Imam Abdul Alamin or Jamil Alamin. He had his own community. They was computer geeks, and they was making all this software that he was selling to Silicon Valley and other places to do different works. Watch that trial and wait for the verdict. You're gonna be shocked that how in the hell did they find this man guilty? How did they do it? Because he was guilty when he came in. In American law, according to what they tell us, you're supposed to be presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But that can't be true. And I'm going to tell you why. It can't be true because if the presumption of innocence was there, you wouldn't have to stay locked up while you fight your case. Right? They come up, yep, West End, H. Rap Brown. You got it, Toya. Latte, my bad. You got it, though. So, we got leadership that can't be leaders when we need them the most, while we struggling to find our way in the darkness of this BS that they putting in front of us, and they telling us this is the way life supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like this. You remember if Pac said, I know what life's supposed to be like, and it ain't supposed to be like this? This is exactly what I'm telling you. I know what life's supposed to be like. I don't want to live here if the matriarchy not intact. Trying to live on earth under this patriarchal, homosexual, pedophile cult dictatorship masquerading as a democracy, a socialist, a communist, or any of that is misery. I read the chapter of misery. in the circle 7. Starts out weak and insufficient and good, oh man. There is one thing in which you are obstinate and shaketh not, and his name is misery. Y'all love that shit. I don't like it. I'm from a whole nother fabric. I'm not into domestic violence. I don't want to beat on no woman. I want to be cuddled up. I'm a gorilla. I'm a huggy bear. I'm a huggy gorilla. I like to be cuddled up like gorillas be cuddled up with they. I ain't with this retarded shit they doing. I'd rather be by myself in my cave, beating on my chest, than deal with the BS where you got to whoop your woman upside the head. That's retarded to me. That's immaturity to me. That's slave doctrine manifesting as the rules of relations. We have so much slave doctrine dominating the culture now. The slave driver, once he's influenced everybody, it's contagion of aberrations as is written in Dianetics. This is how you adopt generational curses from people you ain't even related to. Contagion and aberration. A fucked up idea that somebody take and say, oh, that's a good fucked up idea. I got to use that. And then they use it on somebody. They become victimized by it. The victim imitate the victimizer because the powerless desires power. And because of the powerless desire power, they start to emulate the illusion of power that the dictator is giving them. And I ain't even lit my blunt yet. Ain't nobody sent no request to come chop it up with the chief. Oh. It might be a short one then. Yep, L. Ron Hubbard. Look, they wrote him up as a quack. He told the whole Anunnaki drama in a series of sci-fi writings. They turned one of them into a movie with John Travolta where he was supposed to be playing Inky. But he reacted more like Enlil to me. But that's just their story. You right. They not like us, but we sure as hell act like them. But that's what all that inability to communicate come in. They teach you, like, in general conversation, a child can grasp clearly probably about 100 to 300 words. And that's where they stop you at using their generic school, which is initiating you into the rites of hell, or it's just called sin rites. The sin rites trace back to Babylon, to Ninursin, who masqueraded as Tahuti, and now everybody think the dirt that he did, Tahuti did, and because they used them to replace each other. This is the Anunnaki warfare. It's called the beheading of a god. You put a fraud into place, and then you to give them the credit for all the work that the person did, and then you let the fraud go about doing fraud. It has not changed. It was the same thing in Greece. When the Romans took over Greece, they called it the Greco-Roman civilization because they didn't never want you to think that Rome won and Greece lost, so they put Greece first in their name, but they owned it. So it don't matter which position Greece hold in the Greco-Roman doctrine, as long as they hold a position. So now the Romans got their foot on the Greeks' neck. The Greeks was being educated by the Gorgon priestesses, who later became known as the Delphi priestesses. So, all this ancient history, they pass it off to us as mythology, and it got so much of the stories scattered about. Average people don't know about the cultures. We translating right now ancient cultures in the modern context as if it's a modern idea, and this is how it's lost in translation. Because all of the stuff that the ancients classified that they telling us now is gloom and doom is not gloom and doom. Right? The solar flare is not gloom and doom. The Schumann spiking and eliminating all of the rogue elements is not gloom and doom. You can't have, Mike Penny in the house, that's my guy. You can't have right, a um change that's gonna last if you holding on to the past that has faded away. The change can't last if you holding on to the past that's fading away. We yesterday over because we burnt that bitch down by living it. Tomorrow ain't got here yet because we building it today. So every time we live today, we building tomorrow, and every time we live today, we killed yesterday. It's just progression, right? They say that the Anunnakis and Sumer was the first ones to create a clock. No, they didn't create the clock. They invented time. We didn't have time. We lived in what was called the Septepi, the forever time. We didn't know nothing about no restrictions of time and lifespans and all that's immortality. Then when we begin to split into different avatars, so it's like 30, 40, 50 of us at the same time on the planet because convergence in timelines, the crossing of frequencies in parallel dimensions, in the infinity loop, we be 50 different people. That's why we can't never grasp all our mind until somebody kill off 49. Go back to Jet Li to 1. All of your aspects of yourself have to die for it all to come into the 1. Right? This is how you become the 1. And this is in the occult world, it's the shadow work that kills off all of the selves in alternate realities to converge them into this one reality, which makes you your most powerful aspect and version of the self. Hey. Ooh. Come on, Jimmy. You've been out a long time. I've been seeing you for some years. You can come up and talk. I ain't ever had a chance to talk to you. I don't think.
I've been trying to holler at Rod forever. Oh man.
Just so you know, I can't see you, but I can hear you loud and clear. The audience probably can see you though.
Oh, this is awesome timing. How you doing, Chief?
Pretty good. How you doing, sweetie?
I'm 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 living. I'm living. I
Good.
um I wanted to chime in because a lot of what you just said touched based on what I'm currently going through, um, as well as things that I didn't know in my life at all. Okay, I've been watching you
I'm
for some
currently
time,
going through. Um,
um, and oh, let me see, where do I start? I've been watching you for quite some time. You and a lot of other scholarly brothers and sisters. The list just goes on. C. Freeman L., Bobby Hemmett, all of them.
for you to
Black
mention me
Magic
in the name with C.
363.
Freeman Hill and Bobby Hemmings, boy, that's some high accolades there.
And it's amazing to me because the timing for me. All of these things have transpired for me within the past, I would say, decade. I am 47, and I just found out that my family may not be my family.
How you
um,
think that happened?
oh, it's a lot from what I'm understanding. So I do know that the two individuals that raised me may not be my biological parents. I know for a fact the paternal connection is definitely not my father. The maternal connection may be a part of the lineage, but she was not my biological mother,
So you,
which
you really could have. Do you got siblings older than you?
no. And ironically, I am the eldest grandchild supposedly on both sides. Now the trick thing to that is, and I don't know if I know that things relate to me different than they do to other people. So I'm coming to know of myself as someone who I do have discernment. Um, and I'm fortunate enough to be one who can watch oracles and I can pick out my storyline with no problem. So I know that my father was an elder male. I also know that he left me an inheritance. Now, within me coming to know about this inheritance, and ironically, the way all of that came about is kind of how this supposed family was attempting to trick me to claim my sovereignty, to rescind all of my documents so that I can become someone else. However, it didn't work out that way. But I'm one who realizes that nothing is coincidental. So I know that my spirit team has been guiding me. My ancestors have been guiding me to take steps for me to get closer to what I'm supposed to do. But I found out, and ironically, going back to the system, because there's a lot of uptick in the Oracle community that speaks of me and the situation that's going on with the regards to inheritance and all the people that are attacking me spiritually and attempting to attack me physically, all of the attempts on my life.
You know, it's millions of y'all, right?
Say that one more time.
I said, you do know it's millions of y'all, right?
I do realize that. Yes, I do. Even from just watching the oracles, there are quite a few of them who are going through similar situations. And I ran across something that spoke about, I'll use New York, for example, the amount of star seeds that they basically killed off there. The amount of star seeds that exist that they've actually did destiny swaps, or attempted to take their
Those don't work.
inheritances.
Those always have what's called a residual snapback.
And that's what I'm going through right now. Because those that I knew as my family, fake friends, ex-lovers that I now know were sent into me that were pretty much all damn near down low. It's like waking up and realizing that I'm in a movie. And then I listen to the oracles talk about how my life is already portrayed. I'm part of a Truman Show. People literally are surveillancing me without my consent. I've had doctors speak on me and attempt to take things from me medically to figure out who I am. It's a lot going on, and all of these things were done behind the scenes,
Okay,
so
first,
that when spoke.
before you go any further, there's a couple things that you need to be aware of. They already know who the you is. When they
Yeah,
start,
I realized that.
when they start trying to take bloods and they trying to figure out if they can bypass Prime Creator and create clones, they know who you is. They know who I am. None of us we be thinking we got to go through all, like you said, they tried to trick you into the sovereignty paperwork. Oh, that's BS. They know who we are. We don't got to do none of that. All we got to do is be self-aware. And they've been following me since before when I was in my mama womb. They was monitoring her for my birthday because they was dreading that I might possibly be born on November the 10th, and they was dead spot on at 10:45. So they can mix it however they want to mix it. They was doing an experiment called nature versus nurture when they was swapping babies in the delivery room, but they was also taking families' babies. Like they'll take a baby from one family and then they will act like they're doing an adoption to put it in the family that don't got the same wiring as the bloodline the child from, to determine if he gonna be a problem child for a different breed of parent. And a lot of us been problem child for them different parents. They don't understand us. They can't figure us out. Some of us be doing shit like 2-year olds be glowing in the dark and levitating and all that, and they don't know what the hell. So they try to take us to the doctor to fix us, but they not
Yeah.
fixing us. They fucking us up on purpose. They know what they doing. That don't have one. Soon as you realize that they been knew who you was from the day and time that you came in, they ain't never took their eyes off you. Look, I used to be in the woods in the middle of the night and know these motherfuckers is watching me and be like, where in the fuck is they hiding at?
Yeah.
Where is they? I know they watching me. I could feel it. And then I come across a book years later called The Sense of Being Stared At. They've been watching. They know who we are. There's no mistake about it, because they have to keep track of us so they can know who to give it back to when they lose, because they definitely lost. And the
And
Doge watchdog is proving that.
and when I think the last video I saw you, it was on a group of people. I can't remember exactly what it was. You did mention the nature versus nurture, and it did trigger some things because ironically, now I knew that I was different from as far back as I could remember. However, I cannot remember anything before the ages of 5. And me watching the oracles again, my story resonates with me very strongly. So it was a mention of a child being abused and consistently being beat in the head to the point where the child had to go to the hospital and had swelling on the brain. And ironically, I have a crack on my forehead where my third eye is to be. And the oracle was stating how in my childhood I would speak of things that they didn't understand and made them fearful because I was seeing things that I wasn't present for and they didn't understand it. And even still to this day, with everything that's going on with them attempting to run my character, my name and everything through the mud and on the dark web, and all of these judges and clerks and all these politicians and government, the whole the whole MK Ultra thing, like to really open my eyes and see what my life has truly been. It shocks the hell out of me.
So,
Um,
what do you think you need help with the most right now?
um, right now, if I had to choose something, it's learning how to get off of me whatever is on me. There was a point in time when
Ain't
my
nothing
gifts
on
was
you. It ain't nothing on you.
okay. So what am I possibly either not doing, or maybe I'm still suppressing? I'm not sure, because there was a time when my gifts were so clear and vivid that it would be like watching a television screen. I could literally close my eyes and I can literally foresee things that clear, and it's not that anymore.
That's because the faculty is atrophy. The only way to rebuild it is to let your imagination flow with it. Remember what they used to say, don't let me catch you daydream
Yeah.
in school? That's what you was doing. You was building your ability to see the whole spectrum psychic field. You use daydreaming as a child because there's nobody to teach you. So you automatically born wired to daydream in order to practice developing the psychic faculty. The ones of us that do that, we end up in special ed, we end up medicated and all kind of stuff. And the only way right now, you focus on your cleanses and your heavy metal cleanses, because they didn't probably poisoned you with aluminum and
Yeah.
um arsenic.
I had I had to recently just last year I went through cancer treatment because they diagnosed me with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I had to get 7 transfusions,
Do you know what that
and I
comes
knew
from?
it wasn't coincidental because I know that they were poisoning me, because twice I was sick to the point where I felt as though I was dying. I laid up in the bed for like 7 and 8 days each time, and I just talked to
You,
divine.
do you know what non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is?
It's a blood cancer, isn't it?
It's, they tell you, okay, when they say lymphoma, means lymphatic system. Hodgkin's
Okay.
disease is an entirely different disease. That's why it's called non-Hodgkin's lymphoma,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm gonna tell you where it comes from, and it's gonna shock you. Women using deodorant that's laced with aluminum that's clogging up the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system clogged up creates tumors from the body trying to correct and get the toxins out. So what do? They massively overload you with toxins, either radiation treatment or chemotherapy. Both
So
of them are
that's
toxic.
and that's what they did. I had chemo, um, and ironically, there was no mention of a tumor. They were just curious as to why my blood count kept dropping and where the blood was going.
Hmm.
And I
Normally,
know prior to that, I had not used the deodorants for quite some time. I'm one of those who I do know the importance of, not doing that. I hadn't used that in years.
But you used to use it regularly when you was younger, right?
When I was younger, yes, yes. And back then I didn't know the difference between antiperspirant versus a deodorant. Like I didn't know about the aluminum and all those things back during that time either.
Yeah. Strangling the system.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what the deficiency that make your blood drop and it causes you to suffer anemia, the condition is liver congestion. You have excessive blood buildup in the liver, which limits the amount of blood available to be pushed through the system.
Yeah, I thought of that too. And again with my whole situation, because it's challenging and I'm still attempting to figure it out because I have been blocked financially. They've tapped my devices, the whole nine
Oh, they like
yards.
to keep us. They like to keep the chosen ones broke because they know if we got money, we gonna fix the world.
Yeah, I had even got to the point where I walked away from the corporations as far as being an employee and sought to do my own thing. So I had started an elder care thing in Rhode Island, and I would do like little food gigs for community festivals and things of that nature. And I got into gardening, and slowly but surely, it all tanked. It all tanked.
But that wasn't your path.
You know what, Rod? I feel as I don't think the senior aspect was, but as far as the gardening, like I feel now that I kind of see things a little bit more than what I did growing up, I feel as though I am to be the example of unconditional love. I feel like I'm one here to share the story of the matriarch,
Okay.
and I stand firm in
It
that
is
shit too.
rules. It is rules that go with unconditional love too.
Yeah, I know. I had to find that out because, again, I only really socialized with family, but the closest family that I did constantly associate with were my children. So they even utilized my children too, right?
Yeah,
I
that's kind of.
identification stolen, the whole nine yards.
Where
Like
do you
my
think? Listen, if you don't think they're gonna use your children, where do you think women get the idea, the concept, to disassociate the father from the child they made together, and to use the child to punish the father? Who you think came up with that? That's not a matriarchal thing. Women don't real healed women don't think like that. That's only some trauma based women that's operating from traumas that they
yeah,
can't overcome, listening to other traumatized victims trying to tell them how to X out the trauma by causing more trauma. This is
yeah,
because why the baby's messed up right now to this day. The baby's messed up now because you got traumatized people raising them, traumatizing them, trying to under the pretense of avoiding trauma, they giving them worse trauma. So instead of
hmm
let your baby spend time with his father, you rather kill it. That don't make sense. They call it abortion.
yeah. It's crazy.
Under the matriarchy, abortion was only allowed under certain conditions. I'm not gonna get into all that, but if the woman didn't want the child, she didn't have to keep it, but she had to give it to the daddy. There's
Yeah,
most,
it's
there's very few men who have the option to be a father to their child that know it's his child that's gonna go the other way. It's very, very, very few, unless they them people that look like us and ain't us. It's a lot of them. But
yeah.
generally,
I'm finding that out the hard
it's
way.
more people that's not those people on earth than it is those people that look like us that ain't us. And most
Yeah,
men, when given the opportunity, would rather be a participant in the raising and the upbringing of their children in multiple capacities, not just as the guy to go out and go to work and bring the money home at the end of the week. That's a slave concept that has nothing to do with building a household.
mm,
There's nothing in this system designed for us to build a household and functional families, which is only going to accelerate the decay of the society because it's going to keep producing more trauma on top of trauma, generation to generation, until somebody see it. And
yeah,
the more it's done, the harder it is to see it because what's the trauma looks normal. A lot of women they swear up and down they doing what's right, but they figure because they carry the child as hers and hers alone. That's not matriarchal thinking. That's patriarchal thinking, indoctrination through feminism.
Well,
Women
I'm
never
thankful
thought
I
like
didn't
that
have that
until they
mindset.
encountered feminists.
I'm glad I didn't have that mindset. And although he was an absent parent, the door was never closed. He just chose never to enter unless it was according to his conditions. And
See,
part of that condition was to always have access to me, and that wasn't an
no,
option.
that's not always the case. That's a boy acting like a man.
Yeah, he's part of that group that I'm coming to know is down low. Um,
I rest
and
my case.
not just that, he's also part of the group that took whatever connected to me. And knowing that his children struggled, knowing the many times we were homeless,
He one
like,
of them. He's an
yeah,
absolute
he
100%
is.
Jacobite.
He is. He is. And it's sad because, like I said, they utilize my children, and I've even told them, like, it hurt me initially, that they chose to partake in that with him when he wasn't even present at all, versus coming to tell me of the things that they knew. I had to kind of, once I had got to a point of accepting what I'm hearing in the oracles that was resonating with me, and I took the time to step back and think back in my life, I realized I did ignore a lot of red flags. A lot of things are right in front of my face and I didn't see them. And
What do you do with that? At this point, what do you do with that?
actually what I'm doing with it is I've taken it in and I've accepted that, and I work on me. Now I set boundaries, right? Now I, even with my children, and I have grandchildren, it hurts my heart, but I have very strong boundaries. And I'm attempting to work on myself because I don't want my boundaries to be so firm, because again, I know that I'm here to be an example of
Give me
love.
an
Um,
example of a firm boundary that you have.
with in regards to my children,
No matter what it is, as long as you know that it's a firm boundary, like the thing that you say, I'm not gonna never tolerate this in my life ever again.
um, I'm kind of, I would say the gaslighting for me, since that seems to be the way everybody tends to come, is the gaslighting. A lot of things that people used to say to me, I would just ignore and be like, oh, they tripping, or, I brush it off, but no more. And I even still have to curb that, because sometimes I wonder if I'm too abrasive. Sometimes I wonder if I'm too abrasive, or if I come off too much of my masculine energy because I function that way for so long.
It's
Um,
always a possibility.
I know it is, and I I do my best to be
What do you
conscious
call
of it.
gaslighting?
Um, for example, one of the projects I was working on, my intellectual property. Oh, that's really good. I like that. I like that. But then they would go behind and talk to other people and say, oh, she ain't gonna be successful. Oh, that ain't shit. She don't know what she's doing. But then they turned around and stole my shit.
That's not gaslighting.
No, the fact that they made it seem like, oh, it was a really good idea. You're gonna be really
They,
good at that.
why wouldn't they steal it? Why would they steal it if it wasn't a good idea? They
That's a good
they
question.
told you the truth of how they felt at that moment, and then they used the other tacky shit they did behind your back, as so nobody won't look at them as being the thief that stole the property.
Mm.
That's not gaslighting. That's just setting you up so I can steal your shit.
Hmm. Okay.
That's what they do to all of the rap artists. Um, when they sign the contract, they never gonna give them their value. They gonna give them what they willing to give them, and they gonna try to figure out how to have all of it in the end before the contract expires. And it's gonna all be in that contract, but you're not gonna know it until they start cashing in on your ass. That's the
Yeah.
same thing. Your intellectual property is great as long as it came from the heart. And the greatness is going to make people do that type of stuff because they know that they can benefit from your artistic expression that they not capable of expressing themselves. So what they do, they take what you did, but first, before they do that, they lay the foundation to make anybody have any. When you come tell them who stole your shit, they gonna all look at you like, I don't believe that. He ain't like that shit no way, right?
Yeah.
So now in the minds of all of the people that he spread about how horrible your arts and your talents was before he stole it, or she, before they stole it, all the people they was burning bread on your art with, now when you tell them people that that person is the one who stole your art, who is they looking at like crazy?
Them.
You just got set up.
Yeah.
That's a classic Karen game. That one, oh, easy to interpret. It ain't always quick to see at the beginning, but as it plays out, it's the same story. It's a sharecropping
Yeah.
agreement.
I'm I want to say that I may have somewhat salvaged myself in the sense where I did the only thing I knew to do without having to register my property, and that was make it public. And I also have,
That's how we do it as in the tribal tradition. We make our
I actually thought
intellectual
about you.
property. We
Yeah, I
make
thought about you when I did it.
yeah, we make our inner intellectual property known to as many people as we can, and we try to have it in a format where somebody can go back and reference
Yeah,
it. That's where the oral tradition come in. That's why we
yeah.
never had a patent office until the 1800s, I think it was 1700s, somewhere in there. We never had a patent office over here on these lands. We didn't need one. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, your intellectual property was so valuable and important to us that you get your proper credit that we would name it after you,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
We would name the first rapper, his name was Rapper, and he rapped candy for a living. So we gonna
Wow.
name his style of music rap. That's just
Wow.
an example of how we move, but I'm not sure if that's true right there. But generally, like the Bridge family, they was the ones who built the bridges. You can associate bridges with the bridges because when you hear one name, you hear the other.
Yeah.
The goldsmiths, what did they do? They was the people who used to melt down and make the gold trinkets for the chiefs of the land. That's why their last name is Goldsmith, right?
Mm,
Who called them Goldsmith is an exonym, is not the point. The point is we called each other by our professions. We
yeah.
called each other by our intellectual property, and our intellectual property was automatically associated with us. Mississippi ain't named after no man. That's why it got Mrs. at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
just saying the biggest clan on the land is all Mississippians, and Mississippi not named after a man. So the intellectual property right that carries on from all Mississippian tribes ties back to the Mississippi mama.
Mm, that's deep.
This
That's
is
deep.
this is this is why anytime the land is in a crisis like it is now, they gotta go to Mississippi and scatter chiefs across the land as youth, as adolescents, right?
Mm,
And sometimes it take 2 or 3 generations, but they gonna all know each other because Mississippi niggas know Mississippi niggas because Mississippi niggas do Mississippi shit. And then we go try it out on them NO niggas to see if it's a yes or a no. And if they tell us it's a go, it's a go. Then they
yeah.
go second line marching in order for them Crips to start walking, to trigger them Bloods to start be walking, in order for them Detroit niggas to jit. While them South Side of Chicago niggas is ballrooming in competition versus the West Side Chicago ballroomers. And they trying to get it all told in the story where one of us gonna be able to read it. Because the culture is not gonna leave the people, even if the people try to escape the culture, because the culture is tied to the DNA of the people.
DNA.
It's
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
blood. And if it's
Yeah.
in the blood, I'm a bloodhound. I'm gonna sniff it out.
Yeah.
That's a whole different breed.
I,
Ain't no future in your fronting.
that's a throwback. I have another question too with regards to the records, because I actually, upon me finding out this information, I contacted the hospital that was listed on the birth record that I was born at to be told that they didn't have the records any longer. When I inquired as to if they had an archive, I was told that they didn't have that. So
What
then
city
I
was it?
contacted, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What city was that in?
Chicago.
Oh, they full of shit.
I know they are.
Chicago, this Chicago, Chicago Cook County Hospital was originally the Grand Doula Center where all of the doulas across Canada, the islands, into South America came to learn the science of birthing and child rearing and medical practice.
I think I think I was born in, what is it, Jackson Park?
Yeah.
Jackson, is it
But
Jackson
they
Park
still got
Hospital?
all that. I was using Cook County as the example, but all of the hospitals still have a repository of information. If they tell you and block you and say that your paperwork is lost, 9.9 out of 10, what that means is it's sealed by the government, so you will never know who you is until
Yeah.
it's over with.
Yeah, I figured that out too, because I also requested the original application for the Social Security account number. And it's
Hmm.
been well past 6 weeks and I haven't heard anything yet. Although I was able to speak to a representative to know that although my date of birth is 10/10/77, the date of issue on the application was June 15th of 1979.
Wait a minute, say that again.
I was born 10/10/77, but the issue date for the Social Security number was June 15th of 1979.
But that's not uncommon. Because when they first, they for a long time we were suspicious of getting Social Security cards, and you have people that don't have them sometimes until they go into school and the school require it. So
Hmm.
all the way from birth to 5 years old, anywhere in there is a timely manner in a Social Security card acquisition, but you still have your indemnity record is based on um your true birth, not the bond birth certificate, but they have what they call a long form. The long
Hmm.
form, the master copy is always kept by the city that you was born in. They always keep the master copy, and sometimes they give you a copy of the long form, but most of us get the 8x10 short form birth certificate. So now they don't
Yeah.
even give you that. Now they give you something that look like it look like a certificate to a preschool baseball tournament.
Yeah. And you know what, Rod? I even still question that because I also discovered that, like I said, the gentleman that I grew up with in the household was not my biological father, but I was able to pull records on that, the affidavits and all. So he claimed me to be his a year after he and the woman that I knew as my mother got married. And ironically, on the bottom of that form, he didn't even know, I guess, how old I was, apparently, because I'm not his child, but I was listed as the age of 4 on that affidavit, and then whoever the representative was or the agent that they dealt with in that whole process noted 10/7/83, which I'm assuming would have been the date that I would turn 5, because I couldn't think of any other reason they would put that date in that corner. And again, I'm finding all of this out after realizing that there's this big old inheritance circling around me. Everybody's trying to knock me off and get me to sit still and not move and not be seen and not be heard.
Yeah.
Um,
So your true okay. So what you picking up is your true inheritance is Blue House fatherland, Daddy's girl birthright coming off
yes, and
the matriarchy. You still got that coming. They know it's going to be released. You, it can't nobody get it but you because you the only. They know who you is.
Yeah, some people have been able to access something. Again, I don't know exactly what it
They,
is because
look,
no
they
one's
can use
approached
all the
me.
fraud they want under the query, under the Piscean age. They was allowed to go rampant with the fraud, but
Yeah.
they don't touch the principle.
I have a
They just was
question
able
for
to
you
live
too.
off the principle by leveraging the principle as the collateral, but nobody can
Yeah,
take the collateral from you.
yeah, because the oracles were saying that um basically they were like getting payments, increments to take care of me. But when I was to reach a certain age, I was supposed to get it, which I never heard anything about. And from what I'm gathering, something was sent out in Detroit, Michigan, at a time when I had already left because all of my children were born there. So whoever was there got their paws on it.
Well,
Um,
that was back then. You know, they was doing scams like 90 going north on the hustle game.
yeah.
They was making identities. They was putting light bills and gas bills in babies' names.
Oh yeah, I got multiple copycats and doppelgangers walking around these North American lands with my name. Got even
Mhm.
some trying to look like me. Crazy, sound like me and everything. It's wild. Um, I have a question with regards to the paternal line. Again, a lot of my information is coming through spirit. Um, it's being spoken of that on my paternal lineage, there was a connection with um, with Masons. I'm not sure, possibly Eastern Stars. I'm not sure. I don't know his information. So much so that these cults are coming up in the energy, questioning who I am and how do I know these things, and they're trying to figure me out. So my question is, although I'm not aware that I've run across any of that particular knowledge, is that something that can also be handed down through DNA?
Yeah. Anything your parents, grandparents, great grandparents, and that venom ever learned is accessible through the DNA, but your due diligence is how you activate it.
Okay.
But look, those people, you need to learn how to sit in your God seat. We're gonna have to finish this in a personal um chat because I gotta give you some other instructions. Because right
Okay.
now, because you're not self-aware, I'm going to advise to you that you email Empress Rarebird at the Shalagi Cherokee Nation and try to enroll in the next 12 steps of sovereignty that walks you through the steps where them people questioning you, you need to be questioning them. Anybody asking you about you, you need to be asking them why you asking about me.
Yeah.
And you turn your power dynamic around. But it's more to it than that. And it's like over a period of time, you got to have revelations um, in steps, in stages. You have to get through because you got a lot of stuff between you and activating who you are that you explaining in your, like when I asked you about what you thought gaslighting was, right? Which was a carryover from your hard boundaries, right? So you can get the information off. Just type Empress Redbird in your YouTube search, and her channel will pop up. You can click on her channel and get all of the information to mail. But you got a lot of work to do in order to take your power back. That's what all you're doing right now is struggling to take your power back. And that's exactly
Yeah.
where you stuck at. Because you don't know which steps to take. And by not knowing which steps to take, you're scared to make the wrong step. So she gonna walk you through the steps in the 12-step process. Step 13 is getting your diploma from Big Mama's chair.
Yeah, I do have a lot to learn. Um, and I see people in the comments. You guys, you can follow me. I'm on Facebook if you don't mind, Rod.
Go ahead.
Um, you guys can follow me. I am on Facebook. My name is Jamila S. Neal. Um, and you can also find me on YouTube under Starfire's Seated Share.
Yeah, fraud would call Empress Redbird a fake because they don't know what the hell they talking about. We ain't, look, nobody that I'm talking about that haven't been through the fire and been tested with all of those people with all of those false allegations. We all been through it. You you're not going to be the one, and everybody going and somebody not going to try to stop you from sitting in your seat. And this is why I was referring her to Empress Redbird for that very reason.
And I actually thought about reaching out, but again, with my financial
It's
situation,
free.
I just, I've just been very, I'm not going to say
It's free.
lost. Okay. Okay.
It's free. She don't charge you to go to that 12 steps of sovereignty. Only the frauds charge you. They gonna charge you to get nationality card. They gonna charge you for all kind of stuff. She just dropped out. I don't know. I didn't do that. So, but the frauds is gonna be the ones trying to charge you for everything, and the real ones is the ones that just trying to help you for free. I don't charge for nothing I do. Right? Empress Ripper tried to put me on salary, and I refused. Give it back to the children. And I'm not saying that um to my own horn. We not doing this for self. We doing this so that y'all can take y'all power back the exact same way that me and the Empress and a whole bunch of others have had to take their power back. We have to first take back the sense of self and the power of being in self in order to know where we at and where our alliances is at. You're gonna always have opposition if you're going in the right direction. That's how you know you go in the right direction. Because people that don't know you from a rock in Iraq got a whole encyclopedia written about you. And you don't even know them people. Ain't never had one conversation with them, ain't never talked to them, and they never been around them, but they know more about you than you do. They don't even know a relative of yours that know they related to you. And they got more to say about you. They are not what they doing. They gonna worry about what everybody else doing, what they doing, right? So when you know, don't listen to other people. Go find out for yourself. Go find out. Go find out for yourself. Are you coming up now, Willie? Go find out what somebody about for yourself. People jump on the bandwagon too quick. They can't even play a fucking instrument. How you gonna be on the bandwagon and you can't even play an instrument? It's ridiculous. Peace, God. Can you hear me? You ain't got your mic on mute, do you? Oh, it's still buffering and say joining. Can you hear me?
First, on first.
I can hear you a little bit.
Talking to me, God.
Yeah,
I can't even see myself. Can y'all see me?
I'm just logging on to my other Facebook to see if I can see you because you're dark on my screen, but the sister was too. But I was able to see her. Can y'all see both of us in the comments? Somebody answer.
I y'all can hear me though. Y'all can't see me.
They can y'all hear them? They can't see you. Can y'all hear them?
Okay, y'all can see me. Y'all can hear me. Y'all can't see me, but y'all can hear me.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, they trying to.
They
I'm a,
just hear me.
I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come
Okay.
back, God.
All right. Y'all can hear me, but y'all couldn't hear him, and it wasn't showing up. I was looking on my other Facebook, he wasn't showing up. See, now it said he declined, and I know he didn't decline. I'm gonna try somebody else, then I'll come back to him. Um, Jawan Carter. That man is saying is adding Jawan Carter. Hey, Crystal. Oh, okay. Y'all was able to hear him, but couldn't see him.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? Can y'all hear and see him, or can y'all just hear him? I can hear you, brother. No, I'm trying to see if they hear you, we're gonna go ahead, even if they don't see you. Yeah,
I
they.
didn't even have a question or nothing.
It don't matter. You
But
come up, chop it up for a minute.
yeah,
Yeah, you on screen. You on screen now.
all right.
Yeah, you on screen. I can see you on my other phone. All right. So what's going on with you, brother?
Nothing much. I've been listening to you for a while now. It's been like 3 years. I'm in
Yeah,
Virginia.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of that is a lot of what I be talking about in early American history is Virginian history.
Yeah, I
Uh,
be doing some research on it. A
yeah,
lot.
a lot of the American stuff went down between Pennsylvania, Virginia, and New York got a lot because that was New Amsterdam at one time. They was trying to turn it into um, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm. Yeah, I've been doing that genealogy and stuff, and come to find out, we related to like most people related in Virginia related to like Pocahontas, and I know that's not a real name, but
Yeah, Pocahontas is the tribe. The tribe used to use Pocahontas and was a name for girl actors or playful girls that get into stuff, mischievous.
mm,
Yeah, so when they put it on a historical character, it tells me she's an actor. She wasn't real.
mm, yeah. So about the DOA, the DOE, the Department of Education, what you think about that? It says going down. So what's that mean for like all the
So
schools?
the parents is going to have to reorganize their method by which they educate their children, and they're not going to stop having this 8 hour a day babysitter if somebody don't force it.
Mm,
They get okay. So now they've been sending for the last 15 years or more people to kill babies in the school so that the parent realize that the school is no longer a place to send your child, and people still in droves send their child back to that chaos. I've been telling people they got mass casualty events on the schedule. As they go out, they try to trigger mass casualty events to put people in an apathetic state, which makes them more controllable and easier to manipulate.
mm,
So the Department of Education is tied to the system that we trying to remove. By removing their ability to control our children, it gives us back control of how our children are raised, right? So that power, that was too much power over your child's life for somebody else outside of your community to have in control of their hands. You can be educated into any effed up situation they want to educate you into. All they need to know is your baseline character. And they got a curriculum that suits your baseline character to lead you as far astray as possible. That's why it's called a school. We don't want to send our children to school no more. We
mm,
tired. We don't want the devil educating our babies in hell. teaching them how to be little demons. We tired of it. You look around, a lot of people were starting with community-based educational programs, and they wanted to control that, so they told them they needed a charter, so they call them charter schools. And they got a different curriculum than what's called public schools. The charter gives them permission to educate their children the way they want to. That's what the charter is permission. It's a permission slip from the ones who wield the power to allow you to be who you are and to raise your children how you see fit. You don't need no permission slip. You need to get rid of the people that's telling you you need to ask them for permission to teach your children how to live a life in this world that we in. Because giving the education to the hands of 2 or 3 wicked people, they're gonna absolutely can educate your child into the condition that serves them and not the children or the community at all. That's why our community is falling apart. None of the educational system is designed for community building and strengthening the unity within the community. It's just not there. So the Department of Education has to go. We had a whistleblower named Charlotte Isserty. She's on YouTube, and she broke down the whole No Child Left Behind and the control measures of the DOE, Department of Education. And it goes all the way back to the Rothschilds telling us why they was establishing the modern forms of education. We want to be educated, draw what's in our DNA. We don't want to be dictated, which tells us to follow the straight line. I'm not coloring in a line. If my artistic expression tells me to break the line, I'm breaking the line. And that's why I'm in the position I'm in now, to see what I can see and try to explain it to everybody so that they can understand how the system has been used to manipulate you from childhood. Yeah, it's a curse. All the hustlers say it's a dirty game, but somebody got to play it.
I don't want to play it at all.
Mm-hmm. You got anything else, or go to the next one?
Yeah, you can go to the next one. I appreciate you, Rob.
All the time, man. Keep your head up.
We definitely
Yep.
will.
All right, Will, we're going to try it again, baby. See what it do. You absolutely right, Kanemi. It's the elemental Q community was designed to F up the babies. They wrote a whole war manual on it.
Yo, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you, but the people might be able to. But I'm gonna look on my other one,
No,
see. But
I see
I can
myself.
definitely hear
I
you.
see myself this time, so they probably can hear me.
Yep, I can see you.
All right, good. But, bruh, first of all, God, I was brought here because I follow Deidre, and she follow you, and y'all be coming in on each other's stuff, and you be adding her, and she be adding you, and I follow that
Oh, you
because
talking about
we are,
Drea?
yeah, we already on the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Drea,
my girl. Drea
yeah,
talk.
Drea. Yeah. My bad, Drea. Yeah, she be on some real stuff, and y'all be on some real stuff. So I'm basically here listening to you teach these people about what they should already. I ain't gonna say already know, but what they need to know, because it's just crazy that we as people don't know what we see. We see what we see, but we question it, and at the point when we question it, then we get a little fidgety of what we need to question. But at
You
this point, right,
know, that's
what
why
you
they hide it in plain sight.
right. So what you teaching, I hear what you're saying, and I hear what you're teaching. So I just want to come on here and say and give you your flowers, basically. Give you
You know,
your flowers.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
I need
for
all
you.
I need all the flowers I can get because I'm trying to build a garden anyway.
Facts. And you building the flowers, and you not taking anything from this government that got people still stuck in the matrix. So you need your flowers. So I definitely came here to give you your flowers, because people around here just they see the light, but they don't even wanna be the light that they are. at this point.
Well,
They're afraid to. I ain't gonna say they're afraid, but they questioning what they already know. And I was there at
well,
one
you're
point.
supposed
Where
to
I was
question
questioning.
what you know in order to see if you're missing anything. That
Well,
ain't nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to
that's the
go.
thing I'm saying. So the thing that I'm saying is they question what they know, and then they coming to you for basically confirming the saying, okay, I confirm what I see. So once they get that confirmed from you, they gonna go ahead and move and elevate to where they need to go and do what they need to do. So that's just what I'm here to do. I'm here to give you flowers and say I'm I'm gratefully glad that you doing what you need to do, because ain't nobody on here really doing it what they need to do, moving in their purpose and giving everybody the flowers that they need to give, and you just giving everybody their flowers, bro. So I got to give your flowers back. That's
I
basically what I'm
appreciate
doing. Yeah, man. Like
it.
I ain't got no questions to ask. I'm here to listen. I'm here to learn more than I need to learn, because I know there's more that's needed to be learned on my end. Like you way older than me, obviously. Like I got one gray hair. You got gray hairs all over. Like you got wisdom all over you, and I'm just learning more than what I need to know. So basically, I'm just here to give you your flowers, man. Because
Yeah, I appreciate
it's
it. I
just more
appreciate it.
than people don't. Sometimes people don't really appreciate it, but I'm gonna appreciate that. I'm gonna appreciate you
Well,
and Deidre and all the people that's really out here shining that light.
for sure.
Yeah, ain't too many people out here that's doing that. So I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for letting me on here, though. I'm still finna stay on here, but go ahead and teach people.
All right. I appreciate it, brother. I'm going to take the next one up now.
Go ahead.
All right. Shonda. That kind of stuff make a brother feel good because people throw dirt at you so much. I don't know. Campaign strong. Looking like you from the Bay Area. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't see you. All right. I'm going to have to drop you down, brother, because you ain't come. I can't hear nothing. Can you hear me?
Uncle Rod,
What's up, nephew? What's going on?
can you hear
I
me?
can hear you. Can you hear me? Shit, we lost your sound,
Oh,
brother.
I can't
Okay, I can
hear
hear
you.
you
All
now.
right, I'll come
I can
back in.
hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, let's try somebody else. Daddy Bookman, Ross Clodman, what you talking? Let's see if I can hear this. Peace, G.
What's up, big dog?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Let's get it in. What's on your man?
Man, I said, man, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, my brother. Man, you know how long I've been watching you, man?
I see you pop up every now and then.
Yes, sir, man. Man, I love what you're doing. That I don't think I want to say keep doing what you're doing. I see what they're trying to do with your little lives and stuff. They don't like the energy what you got going,
They
man.
can't stop it.
They can't stop it though, but hey, We still on the ride, baby.
Yep. We on the rise.
I'm gonna keep watching you and your elder. Y'all keep on dropping that.
For sure, man. We look, as long as everybody bumps straight, we'll be good. And
Yes, sir.
some of the people that's bumping straight got to walk off a cliff. That's because that's the only way they can bump straight.
Most definitely. And I'm
Didn't
kind of on that too, man. I've been having to walk away from some of my little family members and everything, cause I know what I got going on. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm down here from Georgia, man.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'm down here from the woods, them little kitty war.
You got any questions?
Huh?
You got any questions?
I got a lot of them, man, but you know, I ain't even gonna get into that tonight. Hey, all
Well,
mine
what
too
I'm here
personal.
for, I'm here to get into some shit.
You had to get into some shit.
Else I wouldn't be here. I
Okay.
can't worry about getting in trouble. I was born in trouble. I was in trouble when I got here.
So my question to you, like, as far as like us getting together what we need together, how do us like I'm kind of stuck in between the bridge, you feel me? Like I connect with the younger, I'm more connected with older, you see what I'm saying? So how do I need to go about, you know what I'm saying, trying to, you know, get
You're
the energy right.
you're the translator. Your
I'm
job
trying.
is to get the
It's
wisdom
like
from the
ain't
old.
nobody hearing me though.
If you the bridge between the two, that you supposed to listen to the old folks and talk to the young folks.
That's what I'm doing. But
Yeah, like
it's
the
kind
stuff
it
that
kind
I
of
be
hard.
saying,
It
I
kind of
didn't think the
hard
young.
around. It kind of hard around my area.
It's
Like it's hard
supposed to
around
be.
here.
The obstacle is the way. It's supposed to be hard. Believe me, I done had it hard. It's been hard.
Yeah,
Me being on social media for me is hard, but
I
I'm
know
here.
it. I know it. I know it. I need some good books I can read, man. Like I'm trying to get into reading.
What you
I'm really
trying to
just
do?
trying to relearn everything. You know, like I don't want like I'm getting away from everything I was taught. Like even with my kids, I'm trying to do different things. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So what you trying to get into as a profession?
I'm a professional welder. That's what I do. I'm a welder.
Okay, what you trying to do for community wise? You're
I
gonna be
want
a leader. You're gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm trying to figure out what kind of books you're looking for.
I want to be heard, and I also
Okay, so
want to be an
study
entrepreneur.
communications.
Okay, okay.
You know how to work a room. Some of the ones one called "How to Work a Room," 1,000 and something. Just another book, 1,001 conversation pieces. I think it was called. But study communications, how to talk to people, how to work a room like a politician, um, understanding neuro-linguistic programming, um, understanding that you in the middle of ages. So the ones older you don't speak the same language as the ones younger than you, and you always gonna be a median. And
Yes,
the ones younger than us that listen to us is gonna translate it for the ones that's coming after them. Right?
yeah,
That's where the idea of a step down educational method came from, where
yeah,
the new children sit in the back of the class, but the ones been in the class the longest is in the front.
yeah.
And the side effect of that is a lot of time, by the time the kids that was in the back get midway up, they know everything the kids in the front know because they've been
Yeah,
passing the
true,
information back to them.
true.
Yeah.
And I got one more other question. Like, for as like, I ain't gonna say like, it's like I got. I want to be like on a positive energy, and I try to stay on a positive energy. Like, but I'm steady. Like, it's so much stuff trying to keep me from being positive, and you know what I'm saying. But I don't let it keep me from being positive. Like, you know,
Look, even when you go negative, use your negative for the greatest good.
yeah,
In other
yeah,
words,
yeah, that part.
in other words, words, if you find yourself having to fuck somebody up, make sure you right first.
Yeah.
You know, question yourself about, am I right? Am I wrong? Am I about to go upside this head because I just feel this way, or am I in the right and I should go upside his head because he about to go upside mine if I don't? You know, you gotta make sure you right and do what you gotta do. Sometimes you don't have to. When you realize that you're wrong, sometimes that's where you learn your greatest lesson. That because now you realize that by you checking to see if you're right, you found out you was wrong. Now you have to adjust your behavior. That's a building block.
Yeah.
I ain't got no problem with pushing nobody's snot box back. I'll punch a motherfucker in the nose in a minute, but I gotta be right. Because if I'm
Yeah. See,
if
I'm like that too, but you know, I've been trying to do right. You see what I'm saying?
just remember, every time when you do right, if you don't have an opposition in the form of a wrong trying to be done to you, won't never know you doing right.
Yeah.
You gotta have an opposing force, and that's how you can navigate this world. You're gonna have push pull, push pull. When you try to do wrong, somebody gonna try to steer you back right. Are you gonna be mentally astute enough to bump back straight? When you find yourself getting too far to the right, somebody gonna come and try to agitate you for you to bump left so you can get back straight.
Yeah.
You know, so it's always gonna be that dynamic push pull. Um, you're gonna try to do what's good. Somebody gonna try to find every reason they can to tear you down and to prove to the world that you ain't ready. And then when you get done overcoming all that, guess what the proof in the pudding say? Got to be ready because they tried to tear him down and he's still here fighting.
Yeah.
But the self-discipline. When
It's
you
funny.
worry about going off the rails, your self-discipline, you don't have to act on everything you feel.
It's
But
funny you
you
say that
gotta
because
ask
I've been
yourself
moving.
about everything you feel.
Yeah.
You know, and that self-discipline is important.
Yes, sir. You just gave me my confirmation. Appreciate it.
For sure, for sure.
I ain't gonna
All right,
hold
I'm
up,
gonna
brother.
take a couple more callers and
Yeah,
then I'm gonna wrap it up.
I was just finna say I'm gonna let you get a couple more callers, man. I appreciate you. I love you, bro.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Peace, love,
Yeah,
and light.
yeah.
One.
One. Okay, Willie, we're gonna try it again. See if they give you some air this time. Can you hear me?
I hear you. You brought me back up here, but I didn't even want to question you. I just wanted you to go ahead and tell the people about their power. What you was just speaking on, basically, a bunch of people don't even get it like that. But I just want you to speak on your power that you know for yourself, because what you speaking on already, and what you telling people to do for themselves is just already sharp. Like that's the only thing people need to know at this point is how to take their power back over, how to get going. I'm already on that level right now. I'm on that frequency right now, and I'm glad that I'm connected with people that's already on that frequency. But when you get on that frequency, I'm gonna ask you this: when you get on that frequency, what keeps you going on that frequency than the people that you've been talking about that's trying to dim you down, dim your light?
They can't change who I am. I'm the only one can change me.
Right.
The world has tried many different ways. They locked me up. They done attacked me. They done shot at me, threw bricks at me. They done came at me with sticks and clubs. That shit don't move me.
Mm-hmm.
They can't kill what's inside because what's inside is eternal. They can F the body up all kind of ways, but what's inside is eternal,
Right.
right? Thug
Right.
niggas eternal.
Right.
We come in, we assess the situation, we adjust for the consequences. So when we get bumped, we can take the impact. Once we can take the impact, bring it on, let's play. This football game, okay. Yep, I'll run the ball straight
Right.
up the middle. I'll run over everybody on the line because that's the job I was given, and they can't stop me. Call me Barry Sanders.
Right.
Call me Billy Sims.
Right.
Coming through like Franco. I got one on my back, one on each leg, and I'm still running the touchdown.
Exactly.
Jim Brown, I got one around my waist, one on each leg, one on each arm, trying to strip the ball out my hand. And I got a whole trail of them behind me, and I'm still breaking records, smashing through the end zone.
Exactly. I just wanted you to point that out because we go through a lot as the chosen ones, as the one that got the light, and then it's people that pull on you and try to dim your light, and then you feel like you got to step back yourself. You ain't got to step back shit. I ain't mean to say that, Facebook. Educational purposes only, but you got to set back for nothing. You just got to keep moving. Keep, like you said, you Barry Sanders. Keep moving and keep going forward. Like,
when you
go
beat
ahead.
the opposition, you Bo Jackson and run harder.
Exactly.
That's
I
it.
just wanted my peoples to get to know that though, because my people seem like they gotta keep helping people that ain't even for them,
Well,
that people that ain't even serving them,
you
people that
can't
ain't
help
even on their life.
nobody till you help yourself first. And if you helping
Yeah,
somebody before you help you misusing yourself.
right. You giving too much energy to them people. That, first of all, they're gonna take your energy. They're gonna
You're gonna
take
remember
everything
you're
that
gonna
you
stay
giving to
depleted.
them.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they gonna move from you. They're gonna act like they don't even know you. So that's why I had to come on here and ask you that because I know you was gonna get a light to the people. They
Hey,
already light, but you finna brighten their light
somebody
even
somebody wanna
brighter.
know if you're from Mississippi too.
I'm from Nah, I ain't from Mississippi. I'm from I'm from I'm from Florida. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Y'all, it's crowded down here right now. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Mississippi got so much power over Florida right now. Mississippi, if you from Mississippi right now, you need to tap into who you really are, because Mississippi got so much power right now. Y'all just not tapping into y'all power right now. Y'all need to tap into y'all power right now and see what's really going on. See who y'all really are for yourselves. People in Florida right now, really don't know who they is right now. But I'm from Florida and I know who I am. I know my worth. I know my powers.
I'm
And
gonna tell you
I'm not
this.
even I'm not even trying to get everybody to see who they is. Because if you don't gravitate to my frequency, you don't gravitate to my frequency. Well, if you do, you're gonna gravitate and you're gonna move and you're gonna combat it. But I had to come on here and I had to ask you that question because there's a lot of people on here that's rising up. I'm not even gonna say waking up. That's rising up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Wondering why they rising up. You rising up because you know how powerful you is, but you really don't know how powerful you is. But when you tap into how powerful you are, you can go ahead and move. You can go ahead and know who you are. You're gonna tap into your gifts and your powers, and you're gonna move like Rod said, like move. Stop playing with yourself. Stop playing with yourself. Cause nobody ain't playing with yourself but yourself. But go ahead.
You know, that's a paradox of reality too. Because reality got you thinking that everybody else playing with you when you really just playing with yourself.
Right.
You
You just
playing
playing.
make believe. You playing make believe with a bunch of make believe motherfuckers pretending to be the character you taught them to play.
Mm-hmm. You
That's what your
playing the
book of life
person.
is.
Yeah. You playing the character that you done created for that person. So you finna create this character that you know you ain't, first of all. And then you finna play it for that person to see what you can get out that person. Don't stop playing that character. Play yourself. And if when you play yourself and that person don't accept you for who you are, move on because you need to be yourself. You don't need to be somebody else that you don't even love. You don't even love that person that you are. You love yourself. Love yourself other than you love the character that you create. You
Look, when I was reading all them books and practicing all them religious practices in prison, when I decided to use it as a university in the monastery to build myself, I did not know that I would be called to come out here and tell these people why all these lies that they've been telling us is a lie.
Mhm.
I never did. It never dawned on me that my self-improvement program would make me qualified to perform a higher work. When I was doing it, that wasn't my goal. My goal
At
was,
all.
I see me how I am, and I say, how can I make me better? One of
Right.
the things that all of the um, motivational speakers, inspirational speakers, religious speakers, the writers, they all had one common thread. And that one common thread focused on seeing yourself for who you are in order to improve yourself for where you weak.
And I don't even know if a bunch of people will get this, but when you had to come overcome that to where you know that you had to come out here and speak for what you're doing right now, basically, for how you giving people the light that you giving. First of all, you already giving your light to everybody else to jump on here and tell people about what's going on and about everything else. Like you had to sit there and dawn on yourself like, dang, I ain't even really ready for this. But I gotta give it to where I know I gotta give it to because these people need that. That's where I was at 2 years ago. I was like, bro, I know my light, and I know I got to give it to everybody, but everybody ain't gonna accept what I'm finna give to them. So you had to come to
That
yourself and be
never
like, no,
crossed
I
my
know everybody.
mind. That never crossed my mind that everybody aren't going to accept it.
I ain't,
That was a that was a foregone conclusion that I already was aware of
yeah,
because I
they ain't crossing my mind
understood.
either.
Yeah,
The thing that crossed my mind is people that comment, and you know how you be on Facebook sharing wisdom and knowledge. It's people that come on there and be like, oh, this is false. I was at that point where like, dang, what I'm gonna say about people that say it's false? What I'm gonna say about people that say I ain't gonna say nothing to them. Because if they ain't on that level, then they don't get it. I'm just gonna talk to the people that gravitate to this and that don't want to elevate.
my mama told me growing up, and this is part of who I am, because she told it to me so much growing up, and I found it to be true repeatedly. Right?
Right.
She said, "Don't think people ain't gonna talk bad about you. Don't think people ain't gonna talk about you behind your back. Don't think
Mm-hmm.
that when you trying to do something good, somebody not gonna come try to stop you and make it turn to something bad."
Right.
And
Indeed.
I asked her how she know. She said, "Baby, look, if they talked about Jesus and they don't think you better than Jesus, what make you think they ain't gonna talk about you?"
They don't want to talk about that. The J word, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
The
right.
J is just an eye bent into a fish hook so I can make you fisher of me in this false reality of the Piscean age.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Well, we in the ICN age right now, so all that
no,
all that's falling down
we
right
made
now.
Aquarius. We in Aquarius now.
Yeah, all that's falling down right now.
We crossed the
So
Maherta. We found the matriarchs. You know what I'm saying? This is a done deal. We Aquarius. We finna start celebrating like the fifth dimension.
yeah,
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius.
yeah, it's
Aquarius. We
it's a
there,
done
baby.
deal. It's
Yeah.
a done
All right,
deal.
man. I'm gonna let you drop down because man, you'll be on here for hours.
Yeah,
But
go
I'm gonna
ahead.
let somebody else up so I can get a couple more in
Go.
before I wrap it up.
All
So
right,
I'm
go
starting
ahead, God. Do
to
your
get
thing.
hungry now. All right.
All right, peace.
TJ Bate. All right. Peace, God.
Yes. Greetings, greetings. How are you?
Sister, hey, sweetie, how you doing? I can't see
I
you, but I
am
can hear you.
amazing. I'm amazing. I'm so happy I got on here. I just have to say to you, you have been a big influence on my walk through this Morris science. Uh, Man, to become a righteous Moor has been a thing for me. And I really appreciate you. I'm going to be honest. You keep me in my studies. I eat from my circle 7 every day. Honestly, you have a lot to do with that, keeping me in my highest self. So I wanted to come on here and give you your flowers too, because you just don't know how much, like, I am such a big fan. In my head, when I first seen you, I was like, oh my God, that's like my husband in my head, like the perfect husband. So I'm just so grateful that I'm able to see you. Always so grateful that you connect with me. Yeah, so I just wanted to come and give you some love and just tell you, like, you be having me on my stuff. So I appreciate
You
you.
know, a lot of us is not gonna see the greatness of Noble Drew Ali until they get the Dirty Moors out.
It's long,
Once,
yes. Come on.
once, look, once Angel Bay get home and he cleaned it up,
Hmm.
and we only got righteous Moors, that's when we gonna really see the greatness of Noble Drew Ali.
It's
And
long.
it's the
It's
same
long.
thing with Marcus Garvey, because now you have a group of infiltrators of the UNIA's descendants still
Hmm.
trying to tear him down. And
Crazy. That's wild.
we don't understand the greatness of those to an importance they was for the era of what was taking place on the land. The only thing that stopped Marcus Garvey for real is when he went into the Masonic lodges and started reading the ledgers and found out we was in the Conjure War. We found
Oh,
out
come
we
on.
was in the Conjure War. The Conjure War outline also has the remedy. The remedy is to educate yourself above the condition in order to break the amnesia.
Hmm.
So
It's long.
he had to fall back. But if you go back and look at the pictures, Gary was building an army of us.
Mm,
But remember,
mm.
Garvey didn't get taken down by the pale face. He got took down by some
No,
niggas. It was the
that's right. And
it
so did
was the
Prophet Noble Drew
yeah.
Ali. Islam.
When Noble Drew Ali started the Moorish Science Temple, he could go get you. He sent a grand sheik wherever you at in their custody and walk out of there with you. These Moors can't do that now. You see the rise of the Moors. They don't.
Yes, Islam.
Somebody went behind his back and contracted with the government.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's where the
Yeah.
problem came at, and all that's got to come out in order for us to. And it ain't for nobody else. It's only for us.
Islam. Yes.
It's only for
Can I
us. It's
ask
only
you?
for us to know the greatness of the greats. And we don't care if nobody else on the earth don't accept our leadership and the guidance that they left for us, as long as we understand what they did, why they was doing what they was doing. And then when we get to expose the infiltrators and
Hmm.
realize they look like us and they
Yes.
ain't us,
Yes. Come on.
squabble up.
Squabble
Squabble
up. So, look, can I
up.
ask you this? This is what I have to say to you. So when I did, because I was a part of the Holy Temple of Science first, and when I went to change my documents with my name, because I did it from the state I'm from, which is in Colorado. I went before a European judge, and do you know when she asked me why I was changing my name, and I said, well, it was the name of my ancestors before slavery. She says, you did your homework, didn't you? Why would she be saying this to me? And she said it to me 3 times. She said, I love when you say it. I just want to hear you say it because you really did the work on yourself. And it was just like, wow, I didn't even realize I was going to get that response. But I just have to say that a lot of times we're holding ourselves back because we don't want to go and ask in an intelligent tone down in City Hall where they'll give us a favorable reply. But we got to understand how we're supposed to ask and how we're supposed to show up in a righteous way, not in a dirty way.
But
So I have to give you praises. I just want to give you honors. I really do. And I thank you for being here.
look, they don't know noble character until they see noble character. When people
Islam.
come in there, the noble character, it's going to reveal the royal blood. How you carry
Islam.
yourself, if you got the right blood, if you got royal blood, you're going to carry yourself in a regal manner.
Definitely.
And
Islam.
the ones who's been trained, because a lot of the ones in the court buildings, the city hall, they've been trained to spot royalty when they see it.
Islam. Yes.
And when you carry yourself with the noble character, hence noble Ali, when you carry yourself with the noble character, you
Mm-hmm.
become exalted in the eyes of the ones that's in the pseudo power positions, because now they can see you as an Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ali is the top family, first family.
Islam.
But he's
Yes,
telling
royal family.
you the story in his name.
Islam.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Come on.
Yeah. So the
Yes.
royal
Yes.
blood is the nobility drew out of the Ali, the royal house. You can put it no simpler than that. And more
Yes.
science is predicated that being to see beyond the sight of regular men. That's what they call.
Wow.
They be calling the adept chambers and all that, and that sensationalism around it. It ain't what they think it is. They think they finna go in the adept chambers as a building, and it ain't no building.
It's not a building, no. That's what it's within you. You don't even understand how it's within you. I went through the adept chamber, quote unquote, in the physical form, but coming out in the spiritual form, it's a total difference. I walked out a different woman. I walked out a different person. Let me say that. I did. It did something to me within. So it definitely tapped in the inside of me.
So Ty's been teaching civics for damn near 60 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that have been studying under him for 60 years still don't know civics. And I got it in 1 year studying Taj. I got all of the civics lessons I need, but they looking for him to do something that he not supposed to do.
Yes, you have to
Right.
do it.
When I was studying Moorish metaphysics, quantum physics, I ended up catching C. Freeman Hill. C. Freeman Hill's royalty radiates through his personality.
Oh, I swear that's my grandfather. I swear it's my grandfather.
As
See,
they say in the hood, he's too smooth with it.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, he polished,
Islam.
right? So you got different people that they got different stuff. Like when I found the Moorish tribal connection, listening to Hakeem Bey, he thinking that he not realizing that the dirty Moors and the righteous Moors was put into the same temple. But he giving you the tribal history. He ain't supposed to know that unless he from the tribes. Because the dirty Moors ain't going to accept it. They going to try to tie all of the tribal traditions to Moorish science
Yeah,
when Moorish science is
yeah,
European in
yeah.
origin.
Come on. So Uncle Rod, let me say this. Because my mother's grandfather, so my great grandfather was a chief of the Chata nation of the territory. And it's actually on record where he shows it. They couldn't go in and wipe his name out or where he was birthplace or none of that. So to make sure that that was done, and my grandfather, I'm originally from Pueblo, Colorado. So being from Pueblo, my ancestors on my father's side are Mexican from old Mexico and Cuba from Cuba. Cuban from Cuba. My mother's Cherokee Choctaw, so same tribe here. But I'm my mom's only direct daughter. I'm the only child she had. So directly descended from a tribe. I know that we were here already. So it just resonated with me so much when I started listening to you speak on that and watching an Empress Redbird and the Chief in Louisiana, like just watching all of that. Great grandfather was he froze to death in the mountains, but there's no way he could have because he rode horseback. He knew what he was doing. You know, he was used to the elements of the weather, so someone had to take him out. So it's just you just
Are
brightened me up
99%
so
right
much
on
on
that
that.
because ain't none of us from the land gonna ever get caught and froze in the wilderness. That's just not gonna
Thank
happen.
you.
We
Thank you.
we know the land. And I knew how to build a fire in the middle of the woods if I was by myself because it got cold when I was 7 years old.
Come on now.
So niggas can't tell me, old ass man that then came up on this land with the mamas we had and the
Yeah.
big papas and big mamas we had. No way. You not gonna not know how to start a fire by the time you 10. So how you gonna tell me you gonna freeze to death? We knew
Come
how to
on. Yeah.
we learned how to build forts as boys for fun.
Come on now. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know some other people want to get up here, but let me just give you your honors. I love you, Uncle Rod.
All right.
Keep doing
I
your thing because you keep
appreciate it.
me
All
going.
right. Thank you.
Peace. Uh-huh.
Mafia is cool.
Peace, God.
Peace, God. What's going on with you?
Oh man, it's a pleasure. Long time coming, man. You heard me. I'm just tapping in what you like to say. Everybody that come on, I gotta give you the flowers. Even just me being able to catch you on live, I got everything I'm looking for already. You know what I'm saying? So it just tapping in and listening for real. I already got what I was looking for. Like I say, I come up in the Christian and Islamic. My grandmother was Christian. My grandfather was Muslim. So then my uncle, I got knowledge of self with the 5%ers when I was 13. And then I got more into, like Dr. John Henrik Clark, Dr. Yosef Ben Yak, and then all the way up into Brother Polite and them come out. Then I ran across RFG. Then when you came out, I'm telling you, you just topped everything off because you got everything that's metaphysical and the keys to the mystery, but also you put it in layman's terms where we can understand and know how to move on everyday action. So I just got a question to say, what is it that we as young men do to help the matriarchy or help our divine feminine to get towards the information or break the paradigm of being a part of the system?
That come with accept your own, be yourself, is how Elijah Muhammad said. Or be yourself and accept your own.
Yep.
Your own is the ones who vibrate. Like, for instance, if your tribe is Crip, you're gonna naturally gravitate toward blue shit.
Facts.
And you gonna know. And the way you see him Crip walking, that's gonna be the coolest thing you ever seen in your life.
Facts.
Right? Then when you see how they be working out, lifting weights, you can be, wait a minute. This my people right here. I'm gonna throw this C up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me. I'm growth and development from birth.
Yes, sir.
I knew who Larry Hoover was before I heard his name. Right? My mama knew him personally. My mama knew Jeff Ford personally.
Right.
My mama knew Benny Lee personally. My mama knew Mickey Boole personally. She knew Mickey Caldwell personally. Right? She was thugged out on the west side of Chicago.
Right.
And then her and my daddy got married and they moved to Michigan and pretended like they were some middle class people. But she got her stripes as a outlaw vice lord biker. A lot of the modern day vice lords don't even know that they got an affiliation with the outlaw vice lord bikers. The outlaw term came from what the government called us when we wouldn't do business with them. Non-treaty tribes, outlaw tribes. Right? The bikers was a tribe. Now we call them all Hell's Angels because the Hell's Angels is the largest biker tribe on the land, and they was instructed to form a biker roundtable with the leaders from all of the clans, the biker clans, in order to bring peace back to the land. They all with it.
Yeah.
You know. Then we got another clan, the truckers. They used to carry the caravans of foodstuffs from family farms to family members in certain destinations.
Right.
This is the same place your mail system came from, your Pony Express.
Right.
All of that was already on the land. We was doing that. We even had trolley cars before 1492 delivering products. We had underground trolleys because we didn't want to spoil the surface of the earth. Well, most of us don't know about that. So when they talk about the Underground Railroad, it rings true to us because we literally had our railing system as subways across the land. A lot of them
when you think
got
about
blew up, but hey.
Yeah, when you think about the oil mining and coal mining and all that, like the industrial age, because I'm from Baltimore, so it's like Baltimore since the industrial age and all the factories and everything, it's like we've been overstricken with poverty and this whole poverty mentality and crab mentality and all that. So it's like I understand the nature of being deprived of the information and knowing who we are and having the knowledge of self.
Yeah. And when they had to erase us out of history, and the only way we can find us in history is to find us in the self. Then they gave us the history books that they controlled the flow of. That's why I don't like doing debates, because I got to argue my enemy's point.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Nah, man, it's a pleasure, man. Like I say, I'm always tapping in. It's crazy because when I saw you go live, I was just listening to you. I'm on the Brain Banging page. I'm on the university page. I'm on all the pages for real. So it's like I'm tapped in, man, and I'm gonna keep saluting you, and I'm gonna keep doing the work that I can do.
For sure, man. That's all we can do. We can only do what we can do.
Yes, sir. And I
What,
got that music too. So I do music. You know, that's my convey of how I share what I'm learning and on my journey for real. So
for
that's
sure.
yeah, it's a
We got,
pleasure,
we got,
man. Just keep doing what you do, Lord, and I'm gonna keep saluting you and being a mirror image until we get to where we need to be.
oh, we getting there too fast as hell at breakneck speed. But it seems like it's slow to all of the ones that don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's Godspeed. It's
Yeah.
Godspeed. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure, man. I'm gonna drop down and peace to the God.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
There's two sisters in there. I'm gonna get them, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this one. Music is a world unto itself. It's got a lot. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey,
How you doing?
fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. What's on your mind?
I can't see you. Am I supposed to
Um,
be?
yeah, I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Um. First, I wanted to compliment you. I guess. I appreciate your range of the topics that you have a lot of knowledge on. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you.
Um. I have a question about if you produce something that people use for like a spiritual tool.
Hmm.
Um, how can you go about blocking them from draining your energy because you produced it and they're using it as a tool?
When you Okay, so this is what the shamans used to do.
Okay.
When, let's say, for instance, I'm an artist and somebody commissioned me to do a tarot deck.
Yeah.
I don't want my energy to be permanently tied to the tarot deck. So I create, um, we used to call them satchels. And I would put the tarot deck in there, put it in salt before I give it to the person to remove with the intent. Because it got to be conscious, willful intent. And being a shaman, you would know how to focus your intent on cleansing your energy from the deck before the transfer. When the transfer comes, any good tarot reader is supposed to charge their deck. That's where you took your energy off. They had to put their energy on in order to be able for their subconscious to control the flow of the cards. That's just an example. The same thing work when you make a talisman or anything like that. But some stuff you want your energy to stay on. Like, let's say, for instance, they commissioned me to paint a mural. My
Right.
energy is what it expands my reach and resource, and it also contributes my energy to the society or all of the viewers of the mural. But private artifacts, like let's say I commission a guy who molds steel to make me a knife for my kitchen. He can, when he get done forging the knife and putting it in that, he can leave it sitting on salt overnight. Um, they used to sit it on salt mixed with something called saltpeter. It's like a sawdust. And they would put the knives on them to take their personal energy out, but then they have to do one more forge. And a lot of times the person who was having the artifact made left something of theirs to be infused into the artifact in order for it to have the energy prominently in it. A good example is when Shaka Zulu was having his spear made. He had to describe to the shaman his energy that he wanted infused into the spear. Then he had to link the energy once it was done, right?
As a weapon.
Yeah. So the shaman have to disassociate his energy in order for Shaka to successfully attach his. They use the water element for it over there. Well, most people that work with steel uses the water element as a purification of the steel. That's why they
Okay.
always dipping it in water and dip it in the water, cool it down, heat it up.
I have kind of a funny story about the tarot thing that you were talking about, energy transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I used to go to a tarot group. This has been years ago, and I always knew that my energy was a lot stronger than the people that I was sitting next to, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked to borrow my deck, and I was kind of particular about that. Some people I wouldn't let them, but he was okay, and I let him. Well, he would always take a pendulum and put it over his deck to center it to himself, and he couldn't. He couldn't do it over my energy on my deck.
Yeah.
It really upset him. He was like, I was like, well, it's my deck. That's me right sitting there on that energy.
He didn't tell
But
you. He didn't tell you what that mean though.
what he was doing,
No, no, no. When he couldn't make it center on your deck, he didn't ever tell you what that meant.
for me, it meant he couldn't control that deck because my energy was all over it and he couldn't override it.
That's
Is
part of
that
it.
correct?
That's part
Okay.
of it. But it was also he supposed to told you that you're not supposed to lend your deck to nobody.
Well, technically, it was my deck that I had just purchased, but as soon as it reaches my hand, it's mine, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it don't matter.
And the
when you when,
deck, the deck I
when you
didn't care
accepted
for.
it as yours,
I didn't
you not a
go.
you had to for it not to cooperate with him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I had just purchased the deck right before I went to this shop, this group meeting or whatever. And as I was flipping through it, I was like, I didn't really like some of the major cards, right? That I kind of have to, like before I, want to use the deck.
Mhm.
And I'd only had it for like half an hour or something. And I was like, well, you can have the deck because I didn't want it. I only spent like $15 on it or something. And when I tried to transfer it to him, he couldn't override it. And so I was like, well, So I cleared it off for him, but it was just an interesting thing because it surprised him.
But
Um,
in your tradition, like for instance, your personal decks that you use, you're not supposed to let people handle them unless you're doing a reading for
there was a couple that I would do that with, but most of them I won't. Some of the people's energy, I wouldn't let them touch them. I
them.
didn't care if I was doing a reading for them or not.
Now,
And then, of
that's a
course, I didn't do
that's
it
a
with
spiritual
everybody.
self giving you instructions on people you ain't supposed to interact with. If you can't,
Yeah,
if you feel that energy, say don't let them mix energy. That means that get the motherfuckers away from you.
yeah. Well, this was a public thing that I couldn't control who was there, but I just stopped interacting. I haven't been there for years.
hmm
My
That's
my
why it's not for
concern.
everybody. Only certain. You might not be one who you do public. You need your own space where you have people come in that you interact with personally as,
Right.
as a priestess, so that when they come in, you smudge them in the mud porch. You're doing smudging ritual before they enter into your chamber or where you read at, and it also it makes your message so much clearer. It's almost like you reading words from a book while you describing it to them.
I don't do readings for other people anymore.
Yeah.
Just my dog. Yeah, I don't.
I don't
They
I
were
don't do
too
I don't do
accurate.
readings for people either.
They were
Not with the
too
deck.
accurate.
Yeah.
In fact, I had the oddest story I had doing tarot. I had a stranger wanted me to prove that tarot was real, and I was fairly new at it, so I didn't realize how that might have some circumstances around it.
Hmm.
Her reading was too accurate. I found out about his ex that he had witnessed dying and all kinds of stuff. Scared the shit out of him. Scared me too because I was like, "Hey man, I don't know why I'm hearing all this." But I was fairly. This was a long time ago. My only concern about what you're talking about as far as the energy transferring and clearing it, that's more of a, I'm giving you an item that I have handled, that I have, that I'm transferring to you. What I'm going to be producing, I'm actually painting the tarot deck, but which means it will have my energy because I've created it, right? It has my vision and how I'm seeing the cards and stuff, but it's going to be mass produced to a certain extent where it's going to be printed somewhere and printed or shipped to them, and I won't ever, I won't see any of that process. So,
Right. Okay, so before you send it to be mass produced, then you have to spread all your cards out and face them up and under the full moon and order your energy to remove itself from the cards. You are the author of that. So, and then you explain while you looking at the deck, you looking over them. You got to explain to your energy what you don't want them to do, and or they're
okay.
gonna do it automatically.
Now, see, I'd already thought about that. The deck itself is melanated people, and I was concerned about that being something that would be a target for some people. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I mean,
Most of the
that's an
people,
extreme.
most of the people
And
that
how,
deal with tarot decks is really good people.
yeah,
Most of them,
yeah,
yeah, most of them not in it for the BS. I
yeah.
wouldn't
Most of,
worry. I
yeah,
wouldn't
I would
worry
say
too
that.
much about that part. I would, before I send it out to be mass produced, I would give my energy instructions to separate from the results of the
From
card
it.
readings
Okay.
and any of the magic done with the cards.
Yes,
But you want to do it under now. Why I tell you to put it under the moonlight? Do you know?
uh, I haven't done too much moon magic. Some of it backfired on me, so I don't really mess with it.
You know
So
tarot
yeah.
is moon magic, right?
Hmm.
Tarot is moon magic. It's
Um.
100% moon magic. It's derived from
I'm not
moon magic.
disagreeing. I'm just saying that I don't. I
Listen,
never
listen,
really.
listen what I'm
Okay.
explaining to you.
Okay.
Tarot cards are moon magic. This the feminine silver cord energy that's called the silver key, the lunar key, the key to the magic of the moon, which governs the night life, and the night light becomes the moon. The moon is the light that illuminates the darkness in the mind of the oracle. This is why they all pay homage to the moon with the crescent on their head. And the crescent takes many positions based off the user's energy field. The tarot was written by Tahuti in its origin, or Thoth. And the purpose of the tarot was to train the psychic to see in the darkness of their mind, using the training of the tarot in order to illuminate the darkness to tell you what it sees in the images. The reflection of the solar light, which comes from the sun magic, which is astrology, astronomy. What's your astrological sign? Now you're using the sun to reflect the moon magic. But all of the magic in the tarot card is infused from moon magic ritual rites of the oracles of the earth. It was designed to train oracles to be able to not need the cards no more. That's why it was originally created. In order for you to have a language that you can translate the unknown into the known before the actual event or in the real time of the event. Sometimes you do a tarot spread, it's more impressive that the person know what's going on in their life right now than it is in 5 years. But in another tarot spread, it's more pressing that they know what they need to do now to be prepared for this event that's to come in about 5 years. So when they read the card, the tarot reader reading comes out, and you'll know the time frame from what it is referring to. What's their tower moment, right? Do their tower moment seem such a far away because he's only beginning his journey as the fool? Or do it look like it's materialized and mature as he sits up on his throne as the emperor, right? So you're reading the energy. Each each energy comes with symbols and signs. The symbolism that you use to infuse a new deck that you create is your subconscious instructions on how to train your future um, trainees in the art of reading their subconscious mind, and you use the art in your cards as the tool for the training. But what you don't want is the bad kids that's breaking into the school that's trying to be funny using the dark arts to use your energy, your creation, because you concerned about the karmic backlash. When you put it under the moon and you instructed not to participate in the shenanigans, then when people try to use it to do what's wrong with it, it's going to force them to do something right because you took your energy off of it, and it has to have balance. They
And
have
it's
to
gonna
charge.
boomerang.
Yeah, so that's
Wow,
why
you,
I was asking you if you knew what kind of magic tarot was, because it's absolutely moon magic.
I had no idea that. I mean, I always thought that they were, a lot of the tarot decks do a lot of Hecate, homage and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they use the moon, of course. But when I picked up tarot, I was trying to figure out why I was able to read energy so well. And when I would tell people certain things, they didn't believe me. But if I lay down a card, then they believe me. Does that make sense?
You use it for
A lot of times I
too.
didn't need those cards.
Yeah,
Huh?
that was the second level of tarot reading. That you really don't need them, but
Hmm.
you use them for the person who don't understand what you're doing to have something as a frame of reference.
Right.
So now they say that you interpreting the cards, or you're not interpreting the cards, you interpreting the
Energy.
energy. You use
You taught me
you
so much
yeah.
here.
So now you use it as a tool. That's the magician's wand. It's a second phase. But once you get to your where you can communicate so clearly with a person that the communication prints the card in their mind, that's when you don't need the cards no more.
But see, what you told me today, just with that kind of, you know how like you'll hear something and it puts things that you were kind of had question marks and it kind of lines all up.
Yeah.
That explains a lot of the activity on the airwaves in the last couple years. I stopped reading tarot and it was coming in whether I was going to read the tarot or not, I think.
Yeah. So so you're reading the tarot, you're going through the three stages. The first stage is learning how to interpret the energy, right? That's the first level of it. Because you're looking at the card, you don't know what it means, you don't know what it feel like, but you got to figure out, how do I tune into this card in order for me to know when I see this energy what it is? Because
Right.
it's gonna play out in real life, but now you got to translate. You have to flip your tarot lens into the world. You're not gonna learn that before you learn how to interpret the energy of the card. Now,
Right.
now that you know how to interpret the energy, you go into what's called phase two, which is the practice phase. The practice phase is you need to build a language stock of communication techniques where you don't need the card for the other person to understand when you're reading the energy that you accurate. They need the magician to have the wand, but the magician can wield the magic with or without the wand.
Right.
Now, if you catch the magician away from his magical supplies and he have no wand, he can still do the magic. Now, in the class 2 of tarot reading, and using it as the wand, as the tool, right, is to train you as a maestro to and conduct the orchestra of the energy. Now you're going to make the song every time you translate for a different person. That's a different song. Now you being maestro with the wands. The wands is the cards. The people fixated on the wands, just listening in the back of their mind for the music. But it don't come from the back of their mind. You spew it out as the translation to the cards. This is training the reader how to communicate with so many different types of people in translations of the energy that eventually you'll be being talked to so many people about the cards that you could see the card in your head without ever holding the deck and explain to them the energy so clearly that it's like you reading it right out of their book of life, because that's where it's coming from. But you have to teach yourself. Now, once you get to the point where you can communicate with so many different people, you can explain the energy that you're reading in the common language so clear that they can almost see their life playing out in the words you speaking, translating their energy back to them. Now you can do it without the cards. It's about building that communication between the listener and the speaker is the reader, right? Now, children love to be read to naturally. People
Tarot?
read books,
Oh, okay.
read, right? Children, they done that too. We call it ABC cards. Just still tarot read,
Right.
right? But they love to be read to because it's the human nature of exchange of information from parent to child. The child loves to hear the parents read. They love to hear the parents speak, right? They drawing out of the child all of the energy that is the parent in the child by that communication, because humans learn from other humans. The first teacher is the mother. The second teacher is the father. The mother teaches him about life. The father teaches him how to navigate that map mama just gave him. So once you get to your levels of communication, you realize that humans exchanging information, when you're doing tarot reading, you're actually reading a book to a child in adult form. And it's their book coming from their life. You open in their book of life because you're reading their energy and you're going through what's in this chapter for you, what's on this page for you, what's 3 pages in on this chapter. That's what you read. It's the reflection of their book of life that's written in who they are, like binary codes on the matrix. You using the cards as the lens, because once you get to the point where you can read without the cards, you can see the streamer.
Didn't you say that the Book of Life is like what they call the Akashic records or whatever?
Yeah, that's the eternal records of everything in existence, and each person comes in with their own book of life. They book of life tell them every single micro step of what they're going to do. It just seems stretched out because it's holographic in nature. That means every single part have the full collection of the whole, and the whole is a reflection of every single part. It's holographic, right? It's 3-dimensional fixed position holographic memory. The fixed position aspect of 3-dimensional reality is the density of matter. The density of matter is what lets you know that you're gonna have to stop at the chair instead of walk through the chair, because you can do both. But you want to follow the rules of the dimension in that you in order to create harmony and balance in the world around you. So you follow the 3D rules. When the chair comes, you stub my toe, right? Because you need to feel. You need to feel, because in fourth dimension mind matrix, you just information. In 3D, you need to feel. Is you an emotional creature. Your emotions is your navigation system. Once you learn to read your emotions get to tell you when to turn left, when to turn right. And that's what they call your instinct. It's keen instinct, divine keen instinct. And this is why when the devil set traps for you, the Lord leads you around them. That's your mama's spirit, because she's floating you through the matrix. The matrix is the mother womb of creation. That's why it's called matrix. Matrix mean womb. And when you research and locate the matrix, it's in something called a mitochondria. And it's all holographic in nature. It's telescopic. Zoom in, zoom out. And that's the training of the psychic mind to operate in the 3 dimension as an intellectual and emotional being. In balance allows you to see clearest throughout the planes. And when you say planes, you're talking about when you look out your window and you see what look like depth. That's the plane of depth. It's laws of physics that govern how you perceive your depth, right? Just like height. Height is depth going up, right? But down is nowhere. Down is right where your feet stop, because you got the law of density telling you that in order to have something called down, you need a base. A base means a fixed position. So this is what you call foundation of the construction, right? So you build the man from the feet up, right? The feet is learning to walk. You got to learn how to walk before he can learn how to run. So as you build, this is building the Temple of Solomon, aka the Temple of Man. The development of the child is the building blocks of the temple, using the psychic energy to bring fourth dimension into 3 dimension, bringing fifth dimension into 2 dimensions in order for the fifth dimension to manifest 3 dimensionally. We following the steps, and it's all read in the streamer, and the psychic readers is the readers of the ticker. And it's tied to every individual. You can read his part, right? But while you reading his part, you can't tell him nobody else's part unless it's in his part. And this is how your tarot reading becomes accurate, because you can only see and read within a field or a prism of that individual. In his macabre, that upward and downward pyramid that looked like a 6-point star, right? Metatron's cube of the energy. You can only read what's in that field. So if it doesn't cross that field, it doesn't translate into energy in the accurate tarot reader's translation. They can see each one of the light rays as it breaks through the prism into its own source of light. So now you can say, I got 7 interactions breaking into your matrix. I mean, you got 7 people dealing with your energy field that's translating right now, right? So now you tell them, okay, well, this one is red, yellow, blue, green, but whatever the 7 spectrum is color-wise, based on how it feels, their years in relation to them. And now you got a card that mirrors each one of the energies. And as the tarot reader, the card that comes up that your subconscious stack, matching everything up, when you flip it, now you got the card that's reflecting the energy that's coming from this person's prism of light that's telling you his life story. That's the Akashic record. That's the uh, fabric, creative fabric that is reading the streamers in the matrix and the book of life of each individual is all tied together by unified field theory. I ain't mean to go that far, but
Okay, so all right. All right, so that was a lot. It kind of it's making me see things a little differently in the sense where, okay, when I did used to read tarot, I approach tarot differently. I approach it like I do everything else in life, in the sense where I don't care what my bank account might say right now, but it's going to have this in this many hours. Does that make sense?
mm-hmm.
Now, some people call that crazy, but I have proven over and over and over and over again I can do that shit. All
You a
right. So I
McDollar.
know, huh?
You a McDollar.
I'm
A
a what?
McDollar.
McDollar?
Yeah. It's a priestess. It's a certain type of priestess, as in Mary of Magdalene, Mary of Magdala. She was a priestess from a priestess order. And it's your job is to use mandalas to write the future by how y'all feel
Yeah.
in order
Yeah.
for in order to tie everybody's creative potential into the new reality that's being created.
Okay, so if I'm approaching like you said, the unified field, as far as I'm concerned, if you're say you're looking at this hologram or whatever, oh, you can't even see my hands. I can't see you, you can't see me, but all right, so if you put your hands like you're holding an energy ball, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull a little thread right in there and bring whatever I want to me. Okay? I know other people don't see the world that way, and it can get real crazy and can get real hectic. But when I was reading tarot, one of the reasons why I stopped reading tarot as I was getting way too much information off of people I didn't want to know. All right.
Trust me, I understand.
And
More than you
half
know.
of it, they would just be like, I can't believe you know that. Well, I'm touching your shit. You're asking about your ex, and I'm telling you all kinds of shit you need to fix. You know what I'm saying? Like, just stuff like that. They used to call me the, I was a tough reader. I didn't, I'm just going to tell you like it is. This is it. But I noticed that that there will be people that will get a tarot reading and never change anything in their life. They don't use it. They don't use the information you give them.
Hold
And
on, stop,
so,
stop, 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 stop. No, you
what?
can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. That's probably why you're not doing it anymore.
Oh
That's
no,
the
I just got
wrong.
tired of it.
That's the wrong
Yeah.
way of looking at delivering the message. It ain't your job for them to do something or not do something. You the
Oh
messenger.
no, I didn't
Listen,
pressure him.
you the
Okay, so
messenger. Your job is to just deliver the messages. You're not supposed to be disgruntled or overly elated about whether they follow through with changing because of the message. It might have been
mhm.
the message that's telling them to stay the same that you think is telling them to make a change, but they know what you're talking about better than you do because they know they self.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. But okay, where I was going with that is I think some people don't approach reality in the same way in the terms of they can mold it and they can shift it. And so to me, because I don't, I could be wrong, okay? I'm open to being wrong, but I don't feel that all of us at least, are not on some railroad track and it's all predestined and you have to do this and you have to do that because it's in a book somewhere or in your energy field. You shift and you change, you move and you move the reality. So, but I think a lot of people that I did readings for, they weren't like that, I guess is what I'm getting to, where um, it was stagnant energy that just stayed stagnant, and they just wanted to know what I could tell them about what they had no. A lot of them felt like they didn't have a choice in the matter. Like whatever was in the cards was just in the cards. So yeah, I was a good tarot reader, but I wouldn't say I was a good tarot reader. Does that make
I
sense?
don't think you doing it for them. I think you was doing it as a training program for you in your self-development program. And
That I
at
wasn't
that
aware I
time,
was on.
yeah, no, at that time, that was the tools you was using because you was also testing your temperament, right? And your
Yeah.
ability to associate, dissociate as an empath. You giving me the training module codes for that reading type. You just use it as a tool. It was a training program. When
Yeah.
you
See, I didn't
accept
know
it
what
as a
training.
lesson, when you accept it as a lesson, it can't be a loss. But in order to accept it as a lesson, you got to be able to learn from it.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I would agree with that totally. Totally.
I know. That's
And
why you're not doing it no more. Because it didn't match your temperament. That means that you had to test your temperament to find where your strengths and weaknesses was. That's part of your self program of self initiation into the self. And nobody write that but you because you the only one know yourself well enough to tell you if I put myself through this, I'm definitely not gonna go this route. You don't only one know yourself that well because you the only one can write your book of life. It was a training program. You ain't the only one
hmm.
to use it either. I use it exactly like you use it. Test my temperament and find out what being able to see into other people's energy and my own, how will I react to it? And this is where I learned to keep my composure dealing with people that don't agree with me. Because I had to keep my composure when the universe tell me something I definitely don't want to fucking hear.
Oh yeah,
No,
that got real old.
yeah.
That
So
got real old.
so that give me a lot of what appears to be patience, but it ain't patience. It's experience that's coming across as patience, because process has to take place in order for the lesson to process.
I'd agree. I wouldn't say I have patience necessarily. I have emotional control.
But
So
emotional control can also be mistaken as a sense of patience. Just like mine
yeah.
is experience, yours is emotional control. I got good EQ, but you know, but the goal now is I was able to give you some insight into some things about what you was doing from
Hmm.
experience. In the same,
I would have never called that moon magic.
yeah, you can. As a matter of fact, you can Google that. Tarot cards is moon magic. It's that commonplace or common knowledge. Um,
I was just using
so,
them.
huh?
I was just using them. I didn't even really do a lot of research.
Mhm.
I literally would say I could do this with I could see how after using tarot that you could do tea leaf readings or chicken bones or whatever. That's kind of how I use them. It was just a tool. I didn't do a lot of research on them other than the card meanings. That was
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, but that's
Wow.
yeah. But hey, you put yourself in a position to learn a great deal. Make sure you milk it for everything it's worth. And take that to the bank because you're gonna be well paid. You already
And I'm
did the
assuming
work.
you don't mean money wise. Huh?
I said you already did the work. Now you gotta go. Only way that you can get paid out on the experience is when the losses become the lessons, and then all of the L's flip to sevens for jackpots. You the only one can milk that. It's the only you got your own bank.
I see. I'm not following you on that one.
It's energy. By going back over everything you learned, the more things that you suddenly realize that you've learned,
Oh, I
that's
see
the
what you're saying.
flipping the L into the seven.
Yeah, sometimes I have blind spots on
Right.
just like that where you were talking about that was a training ground. I had no idea. I literally was just trying to help people. That was my only goal. I didn't even take money for readings or anything.
Mhm.
I never made one dime off of a reading.
Yeah, because
But
it
I was
was
starting
only
to feel like
training.
a counselor.
It was
Huh?
only training. Look, Michael Jordan, if he didn't never practice, he would have never been Michael Jordan. If
Sorry.
Kobe, if Kobe
You
Bryant
mentioned
did never
up
go to
there between
practice,
Michael Jordan and my readings. I was like,
yeah,
what?
you can't be good at something without practicing it because you got to know how to do
True.
it.
But like I said,
You're
I was a
not
good
born
tarot
knowing
reader.
how to do nothing.
I wasn't a good tarot reader. Huh?
You're not born automatically knowing how to do nothing. You got to learn everything.
Well, yeah.
That's why everything is stretched out in the bracket of time. Because now, if you break the time into segments, your life into 7-year increments, some people would be 5 years, some people would be 6 years. But you'll notice that these increments have a common denominator. You know, you go through a process of learning for a period of time, then you run into where everything that you learn is being tested by life. When you reflect back on your life and you begin to see that, you begin to graduate from each one of those degrees up to now. And now
Like a
you
level up.
got, yeah, so now you got more tools in your resources of survival of the three-dimensional fixed mind matrix. Now you have more tools to open more doors, or as they say, more keys.
More training
Yeah.
grounds.
And the more you know, the further you go. They say leaders are readers. The only thing a reader does is look at something from another person's perspective. And the more people perspective, the more you master the perspective of the 360-degree cycles of the hologram. You see from every single position, or at least 360, that's going to open up your perception to see 720 as above, so below. 360 on the ground, 360 in the sky. Just like when you read the tarot cards and then somebody else come along and read the astrology and you tell one person the same thing, they at the center of the hourglass.
Is there a reason why I would um be very poor in grasping astrology? I've even looked at like the houses and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the few topics that doesn't stick in my brain. Like I can't recall it and go do like I do other things.
That's because you're not really interested.
Oh,
Anything you're truly interested in, the interest is what makes you pay attention. That's why we be all fucking up in school. Nobody care about that bullshit they writing on the chalkboard.
I
Seriously,
wasn't
ask
like
any one of
this.
the kids. I mean, seriously. It's the same with life when you become an adult and you try to do something that you're not really interested in,
Yeah,
you half-ass it. After a while, you be like, this shit ain't for me. Because I can't
yeah.
put my all into it, so I can't get nothing out of it. Yeah.
And I always felt like astrology was more of a bigger picture and longer term than a tarot reading. A tarot reading was, you know, I don't know. It just seemed like it was more action based. That's the only thing I
Yeah. The, di-
describe it.
yeah, the difference is you're looking at it from an overhead view versus looking at it from a street view.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And I like the street view better than the overview.
That's the moon magic. Because the moon magic is directly tied to the earth frequency in order to harness the women's energy with this menstrual cycle bullshit. It's all tied together. It's part of a slave system of holographic projections to control people and keep them from remembering that they was already here.
Is it possible for that to go away at some point, that moon?
You gotta the moon. That motherfucker might drive off any day. It don't need to be there.
Okay. All right.
Just
Yeah, because
just
I
remember
have a
this:
feeling it
the
won't be.
lens of the projector. You can watch the movie in it too. Now,
Say that again?
you can watch the movie from the lens of the projector. What I mean by that, right?
Is that an actual movie? Because I don't watch movies.
Mm-mm. Back in the day, they used to have what's called movie theaters. In the movie theater, is playing a movie on the screen, but it's a projector behind everybody projecting the movie to the screen.
Oh yeah, I'm old enough for that.
Okay, now if you look back at the projector, you can see the movie playing in the lens.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Now, for some strange reason, Earth is in the moon.
The
Yeah,
reflection, the continents and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought the moon was reflecting the sun.
It doesn't seem to be reflecting anything.
Well, why can you see the layout of Earth on the moon?
Isn't the Have you ever seen them take that holograph thing where they put it down here and then you see it up here?
Yeah, but it's not a hologram because it's been there for thousands of years. People that draw the moon been drawing the reflection of the Earth on the moon ever since they've been drawing the moon. The moon haven't always been there.
So the moon is reflecting the Earth, is what you're saying, or is the Earth reflecting the moon?
The moon is projected to the hologram that keeps you locked in the mind trap.
Oh, I see. So it's coming down like this.
Right. But
Oh, you
now,
can
in
see
order for that to be true, you need what's called a north-south projection
pull it.
mechanism that goes around the Earth. It would have to go in order for the hologram to be projected. In
Isn't
order
that when you
for
were talking about they're supposed to be able to touch but they don't, or something?
yeah,
You were talking about that on something else.
yeah, that was the Dark Knight satellite. That's the second
That thing
lens
creeps
of
me
the
out, and I haven't
projector.
even watched the documentary on it.
Yeah. So somebody got a computer using artificial intelligence, using the moon and the Dark Knight satellite to hijack the minds of the people. And turned off. When they wake up, they be in what's called the fifth dimension, which is the spiritual self being able to see through all of the bullshit in the 3D world instantly. And you'll be
Wouldn't
able
that
to
jack with
adjust
time?
accordingly. Huh?
If that's turned off, wouldn't that jack with time?
Kind of. We used to live in what was called the Septepi, the forever time. Now we don't live in the forever time. We live in what's called the time of mortality, or the Great Kali Yuga, the sleep age of the gods. When the
So the
guys wake,
Mahorte,
yeah, so the guys wake up and realize they was just asleep.
okay, so but isn't there a theory? Because I didn't watch the documentary on the Black Knight satellite, but I caught a few things. Isn't there a theory that the Aninaku or the Anunnaki or whatever they're called, the new, keep tabs on this planet with that satellite?
Yeah, that's called the Eye of Enki. I mean, the Eye of Enlil. The Eye of
Okay.
Enki, the Eye of Enki is on the ground. It's called the Yoni of the Earth. It's in South Africa on
The
Zululand. The Eye of Enki. The Eye of Enlil is in the sky, what we call today a satellite. They didn't call them satellites back then because they didn't speak modern English. So they
Is
called,
that parallel to the Eye of Horus and the Eye of Tahuti?
it's the Ujet and the Uraeus, the Eye of Osiris and the Eye of Isis, because Osiris gave Isis one of his eyes. He actually gave it to, I think it was Hathor, because Hathor is the first heir to the Isis seat. And then she gave it to her son, which was Heru.
Okay,
Then it became known as the Eye of Horus. But
I
both
see.
of them was the two eyes of Osiris, I mean of Ra at one time. Then
Or Ray.
it's a potato,
Oh, okay.
tomato. And the two eyes, it symbolizes as two different perspectives of view. It's the knowledge and the wisdom. So they come out, master of the earth realm, the 3D, the lower realm, the lower nature, the vulture,
Right.
on one side of your crown. The higher nature, the noble character, the way of the wise, comes out as the cobra, the hood
Yeah,
cobra.
but that's the on this plane, that's what people call it mythology, but it would be like a spirituality, I guess, or an explanation of a process. But is there some parallel to the two other eyes that you were talking about?
They are from two different cultural perspectives.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I thought Enlil was a, well, I guess that would still make sense too.
The word Enlil means Lord of the sky. En means Lord. Enki means Lord of the earth.
Oh, okay.
And the eye of Enlil, the Dark Knight satellite, because Enlil was the leader of the air fleet in the Anunnaki tale. So it became known as the Eye of Enlil, but it was just a satellite. They just didn't use the word satellite because that's a modern word. But when we translated the ancient term, they described the satellite and then they give it a name and call it the Eye of Enlil. And on the earth, because Enki is the earth key, it is the what they call the primate key, which is the father key, right? And you need a master's grip to hold the key. You need a special frequency to release the sword from the stone in order to pull the cross out the ground. In order to break the sacrifice and free the people, you pull your weapon, King Arthur's sword, right? It's metaphors, it's mythology, mythology. It's the mysteries of the ancients woven to the tales of mystery and mysticism as mythology in order to separate it from their story near theology and theocracies ran as republics and democracies to deceive the people. You have to have the mysteries and the mythologies to unravel all of the theological bullshit. And that's why it continues through history with the same ancient stories and why we keep telling them if we don't need them. Because anything that outwears its use in the realm of the human is no longer used. Our 50-foot self is no longer of value because of the shifting of the earth. We'd be too big, too slow, too sluggish. We would die out. We upgrade, so we downsized. We went from 13 strands of a whole bunch of bulky 57 Chevy to the 2-strand streamliner Lamborghini Diablo genetically in order to facilitate the transfer. All of Earth history is still on the Earth in stratas and layers and carryovers from bygone ages. We don't need the artifacts. We need to read the artifacts in order to know what already worked and what already didn't work. All we're trying to do is improve on the root base of humanity in order for the knowledge to increase the productivity of humans, and then they'll begin to produce heaven on earth and bypass the wickedness of digging in the ground and burying people. There's a difference.
Yeah, but I would say that that way of thinking, like what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
that would probably not be the way that a majority of the consciousness on the planet is thinking.
I know. Just like you gave the perfect description of being a Magdala priestess, but you don't know nothing about Magdala priestess. How can you give the exact description and never know what it is?
Because I'm already
Instant.
that.
You already that. That you don't have to become. And as a Magdala priestess, your ability to manipulate reality is way more advanced than regular people by birthright. You inherited that because it's in your bloodline, or you wouldn't have knew it. You wouldn't have no interest in it. You got to remember who you is and accept who you is because you're powerful as hell. You contributing to the progression and the evolution of the golden age. It's millions of y'all on the planet right now, and it's normally only a couple of 100,000. Y'all came for great change. So you have to dig into the self in order to see your ability to facilitate great change. And then rest in that energy and let it take its course. Don't fight it.
If what you just said is true, then that's probably a problem for some people.
Why would you give
I'm
us
not
it?
sure I agree with that,
If,
but because
if,
you're way more generous than I am, I'll tell you that.
if somebody else have a problem with you living your purpose, fuck them.
Oh no, I'm not worried about him. I'm just saying, like, if there's a lot of us and we're on this train of thought, some of these people ain't gonna make it, man.
I done already been telling them. When y'all turn on and y'all all sync, a whole bunch of motherfuckers ain't gonna make it. Because that's when the solar flare gonna flash the earth, and then the earth is gonna flash the people with a Schumann resonance,
Yeah,
and a whole bunch of people, mitochondrial, is gonna be turned to the off position.
I've seen that. I mean, I've seen that.
I've been telling them for
Not
years.
kidding.
I didn't just
You,
make this up.
you know that movie? I don't know. I don't remember the name of the movie. I just saw like a small clip of it, and then I went to the movie database and looked up to see what it was and got the synopsis. It was a Bruce Willis movie where a bunch of people just fell out on the ground.
Hmm.
I haven't watched the movie, but when I saw it, I instantly went, "Oh shit, that's gonna happen," because I'd already seen it.
Yeah, that's the time. That's just called the great shift, the timeline shift. The timeline under the old system was geared for the destruction of all of Earth and all of humanity. The timeline of the Aquarian age is shifted to the golden age and great abundance for the people on Earth. So when the timeline shift, some people didn't get it immediately and got snatched back later. This all plays out symbolically as people being snatched through the timelines because some people got it later than others and they made it out just before the great destruction. And this is why they was preaching all of the gloom and doom and the nuclear holocaust and all that bullshit to trigger the people to shift the timeline so that they can bring in y'all mandala priests to come in and shift us to a higher frequency. And y'all tied into the daughters of Isis and the Delphi priestess, y'all all begin to sync. And a whole bunch of women is gonna start having menstrual cycles every 28 days on the same day. They're gonna run out of tampons. And that's because y'all starting to sync up. It's gonna be the same time, and they're gonna say but like 3 months of that, and then woof, it's over. All of the bullshit gone. And I'm gonna be dancing the jig in the streets during the middle of the Mardi Gras, because it ain't too far off.
This may be a TMI, so I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but well, sorry, but kind of not. But would this explain why in my 50s I'm still having a menstrual period?
Yeah, because some of y'all offset menopause because it's gonna interfere with y'all shift.
I haven't, as far as I know, I haven't even gone through menopause.
Right.
I don't have hot
All of the
flashes, and I mean, I've always been
priestesses life
crazy.
right. The priestesses lifespans are already longer. This is
I
why
already knew
you
I was gonna make
yeah.
120. I've known that since I was a kid.
So all of your internal clock is stretched out further to facilitate you living a longer life. It's part of it. Then when y'all, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna remember that you can control your menstrual cycle without going through menopause. You're gonna turn it off, and that's gonna permanently offset menopause. But it's also gonna stop your aging because it's gonna kill the aging hormones. It's part of the it's when they be talking about taking on your glorified body. All it is a bunch of priestesses activating the mitochondria to put maximum output. Anybody that didn't do self work, they're not gonna make it. All of the ones that was too selfish and too greedy and was trying to destroy other people, they're not gonna make it. All of the ones that generally had good hearts, even if they did dirty deeds, but they didn't really want to do it, but they might have been forced into a position. I'm gonna fuck you up for you do anything to my mom or my sister or my brother. That don't make me a bad person, right? I'm just a good person that's willing to fuck you up. But when y'all click, and if they heart dirty, they're not gonna be here. It's gonna be a flash. It's gonna be like a cameraman flash the flash too close to your eyes. You know what the fuck just happened? And then it's gonna be like 7,000 people in this city is just dropped dead.
Hmm. It's almost like their pineal gland explodes or something.
And they turn off the power, like turning off a robot. No
They
power.
have to know. They have to know because for them to be putting out movies like that, they have to know.
They do.
Somebody knows.
They do. This is it's cyclic. It's the cycles of the three-dimensional matrix. It's just not new. That's why it's written in they proverbs. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't none of this new. It's cyclic. It's just another repeat. They normally don't have to bother me with this because it's menial in the realm of the gods. But for the mortals, this was some helly shit. God damn. But in the realm of the gods, this is trivial. All it is about restructuring in order to change the direction of the future. That's it. And in order to put it back on the right track, you got to get off the old track. Stop following the old system because it's over with. Now you being flipped onto the other rail at the junction, the crossroads. Ban Samadhi, keeper of the crossroads, right? So as you shift on the railway, now you're riding the rails, the iron, right? Protected by Ogun. So now you see all of the Orishas energy fields converging at a central location in order. It's just cyclic. It's written about because it keep on happening. And if it keep on happening, somebody gonna write about it. But ain't nobody writing about it was there to see it. They only writing about it because they heard it. Somebody
So now
told
they're
them.
putting in movies.
Yeah. Movies, songs, all of it. Paintings, plays. They're still telling the same story in a different way. They all the same story in a different way. And you got so many perspectives to look at the story.
Yeah, but the story gets really ugly.
Yeah, yeah. They did. Hey, when you're not in human form, there's no such thing as good or bad. In order to have good or bad, right or wrong, you have to be in human form to perceive the concept. The concept don't exist in the realm of the gods. That's
That
why they
was
put it in 3D.
that was a learning lesson for me in terms of morality, because I really strive to be very um, um, I have my own moral compass that I stick to.
Mhm.
That Segment energy doesn't have morality.
Oh hell,
Hmm.
segment gonna fuck you up,
Yeah.
gut you, behead you, slice your balls off.
Not me. I was harnessing it, okay? So I felt like that was a shift where it was in defense mode, but then it just became I don't know, you just get to a point where you realize there isn't any morality to a certain extent. Like
When
there's
you living in the realm of opposites, you can't have good without having bad. Morality is man's ability to try to wrap his mind around the concepts of good and bad. And then he's trying to pick what level of compass of morality he's going to use, or she, to navigate this life. Because once you set a compass, you're going to only move in the progressive direction you're going according to the compass. You're programming your future and your course in order to track your path. You're following your book of life.
yeah, but I think religion has influenced the moral compass. And I think that religion itself is full of a lot of lies. Does that make sense? Or I should say it does on a wide scale as far as the population.
You can
And it did myself when I was younger. Because I read the Bible so much that
the Bible is very influential in modern moral compass,
right.
but it carries the energy of a double standard with the way that it is presented to the masses, and it's infused into the energy and the nature of the pedophile priest cult that created and run it.
Right.
So that don't mean that a bad person can't tell you how to do something for the good. They might be telling you how to do the greatest good so they can steal the most from you.
Right. Right.
Right? They say an angel of dark transforms into an angel of light to deceive the very elect. That means one who's trying to do his dirt can look like the one trying to do the most right, as long as he can get an opportunity to do his dirt in the end. Right? So in order to do the most good, sometimes you have to do something real bad, like chop that motherfucker head off.
The
And
Hydra.
that tests your moral compass. Because now, are you willing to do for the good what the wicked is willing to do for the bad? Because if you can't match that wickedness with the good in you on the other spectrum, you're going to lose, because you're going to be overwhelmed with the power of the wickedness. Moralism, as Bobby Hemmett called it, is just a way to stifle spiritual energy so it can only present itself in the matters that's been projected to the people as the moral compass. That means
Yeah,
that,
it's a weakness.
yeah. So what it's doing is it's controlling and harnessing how you use your energy. Instead of telling you how to use it, they give you a suggested guideline for that use.
Mine's adjusted myself.
But you
Oh,
gotta have you have to go. The only way you can adjust it is to weigh it against how you feel about it.
feel about what?
The moral, whatever the moral um concept that you're dealing with at the time, let's say it's murder. It might be morally repugnant to you to just murder somebody, but it might not be morally repugnant to you to chop a motherfucking head off about your baby, right? Because it's the second law of nature just kicked in to offset what the first law of nature was morally correcting you not to do. But now you got two laws of nature, survival of your child, and that becomes a reversal of that first law of nature that wouldn't allow you to kill just to be killing.
Can I talk about a touchy subject?
Hey, I'm all with the touchy subjects as long as they don't touch the wrong parts.
Okay, so um, how do I want to approach this without stepping on any
Step on
toes? Let's see.
step on their motherfucking toes.
All right, I'm just gonna say it. I grew up in a Caucasian household. My parents, my mother was Irish, and I have a lot of love for my family. Okay, and my grandmother loved me probably more than anybody on the face of this earth thus far. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved her. Okay, she was still racist the day she died. Okay, so I have an inside view of that culture. And then when I look at, if you look at the face of the destruction of the earth, if you look at a lot of the things that have gone wrong, and I'm talking globally in uh, colonization, I mean, all these different points that all of us don't like. When you throw a dart at them, they usually come up with a pale face. And over the years,
Okay,
my
now stop right
tolerance
there.
in this area.
I gotta stop you right there. Do you know why that every time you look in history, you see a pale face?
Well, I understand to a certain extent that they are the fall guy on certain things, right? However, the problem that I have is that I finally got to the point a couple years ago where I decided I was no longer going to weigh and measure. And that sounds kind of bitter and harsh, but I really did get to that point where I didn't want to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one of you is going to try to fuck me here? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to try to weed through to find out that, oh, you are a racist in the long end. You see what I'm saying? So I just kind of pulled back from that society where I was actually very intermingled with it. And the reason why I'm saying this is if it gets to a point when I understand at some point we don't have these bodies or whatever, but if the as above so below is mirroring, why would I extend the higher I get up in terms of planes and dimensions? Does that make sense?
I don't quite understand what you just said. It's red. Say it again.
Okay. When you, because it's surrounding morality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, if you'd asked me 6, 7 years ago, any child out here, they should be taken care of. I still believe that. But there's something in the back of my mind now that says, if I were to, like, if you had like 10 children and they all needed a place, they were orphans, I would take all 10 in, right? Like, we're all trying to take care of a village. But part of me would wonder, are some of these people going to harm people that look like me later? Does that make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for me to see long term
That's called
morality.
projecting victimization from a caregiver.
I'm sorry?
It's projected victimization of a caregiver. But not only you're taking in orphans, some parents feel that way about their own children,
True.
right? But that's rooted in I don't trust what I'm teaching this child, and I don't trust what this child is learning in order for them to be good people. Therefore, the effect that it's going to have on them, I don't want to be here to suffer the consequences when the village turned on the child and the child burned the village down. You seeing it in advance, so it's making you have an aversion to your participation
Hmm.
because you don't trust what the society has been instilling in the children. Nor do we. The difference is what instead of me trying to change what the society is teaching the children, I start telling them how to look for the truth. And then once I realize that you've had it, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going about my business now. Because the youth, when they give them proper instructions, exhibit wiser behavior than the ones miseducated. And they the ones that's going to educate the miseducated correctly. So when I see these youngsters writing songs about their history and they're repeating words that I said about where to look for stuff, and then they're going and pulling and making video shorts showing what I'm talking about with visuals now. They taking it to the next level. They able to change the fabric of the developmental pace of the next generation. What we got to do is learn to teach the children so that when we turn them loose as adults, they can operate autonomously. They don't need nobody micromanaging their life because we've instilled in them the skills and the character. The character enforces its own morality. Good character is a lot of times you don't have to be worried about what's morally correct or incorrect because you operate in a place of general goodness. That's why I say the noble character betrays the royal blood. And when you realize that what's in you can alter the world and you have that power by altering yourself, that changes the game for everybody involved. You are viewing the paradigm of the old system as you saw it. Your translation is clear based on what you've seen with your eyes. So now going into a new system, the only thing now is to change the mental paradigm and how you view it, knowing that if you have to be raising 7 children from different backgrounds, it won't even matter because to teach them to be a good person and to treat people the way you want to be treated and show them examples of it throughout life and be the change you want to see, they're going to automatically pick it up and take it to the next level. And you won't have to worry about what kind of adults they're going to turn out to be because you put goodness in their heart. And I tell the little children that the goodness in their heart is a piece of gold. And the more they do stuff that make their heart glow, make the gold in your heart grow. Be rich when you become an adult. And the stuff that make you feel bad on the inside, that make your gold tarnish. Don't let your gold be in blackened where you can't see the light. It's supposed to always shine. But these people teach you to stop it from shining, and it kills your view of a better future by seeing that wicked past. That's why it's a nightmare. History is a nightmare, right? And the future is the dream. Step out of the nightmare into the dream. Don't live in the past. Use the past to build the future. All the shit that you don't like, don't take that shit into the future. All the good shit, take that with you. Build good on top of goods, you're going to end up with a bunch of good shit. Use what's useful and discard what's waste. Put everything in its proper receptacle. That includes how you deal with people. Some people not going to be your people. It's okay to be cordial, be kind, and to kindly step the fuck away from them. And then some people gonna be your people, and you're gonna be cordial and be kind and all clucked up with them. Birds of a feather flock together. These my people. They vibe like I vibe. Yeah,
So your approach to that is more of a teaching.
yeah. The babies
What
don't know
about
how to
how to
hate
teach?
until they taught how.
Hmm?
Babies don't know how to hate until they taught how to hate. I done seen it with my own 2 eyes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if we don't teach them to hate and just teach them to be good people instead, what we gonna raise? Explain to them why we don't tolerate hate. It won't be in them. You got to instill hate in the child and for the hate to grow and for them to grow up to be some fucked up people like they've been doing. That's the fertilizer. Keep feeding them more hate. Give them every situation, condition, and circumstances in which to hate further.
I won't say I've moved completely, but you shifted me a little bit today, so that's
A
good.
little shift is better than no shift at all, sweetie.
True. I mean, I wasn't trying to be bitter or anything, and I've always walked through life where I don't care if someone's racist towards me. It doesn't bother me. They're not gonna stop me from doing anything. But the problem is when I start seeing things at a bigger bird's eye view, there's just too much of it. It's affecting too many people. Does that make sense?
So
So
that means
my
the racist viewpoint was a military strategy rolled out on the people. It's up to the people to break that paradigm. Racism is an illusion. All it is an energy control put into society by the controller. That's all it is.
yeah, but there's people that are affected from the top down,
The,
or from a
the wickedness coming from the top until we switch. The infection that's affecting us is coming from the top. It ain't coming from the bottom. Poor people too
no, I
busy
mean like
being look. Poor people too busy being poor to make somebody else miserable.
so it's just a tentacle of the overall attack, I guess is what you're saying. Just one of the many things that they use.
Right. Look, when you got to use education as a weapon too, and the stuff you train people, teach people is the education you give them. If it's used as a weapon, you got to know how to use it, how to wield it as a weapon. In the education that all of us so-called people in America been given, the organic originals, the $5 imposters, the cat's paw that came over the cover for the dirty players, everybody over here, we are being taught the same hatred, the same bullshit. They telling us how we supposed to feel about other people that we don't even know. I can't hate all pale face people because I don't know all pale face people. But I can
Could that
tell you,
also be energy leaking?
yes, exactly what it is. It's like riding on a flat. You hating people that don't even know you. That's the heights of ignorance. That's common sense to tell you that's the heights of ignorance. You can't be no more ignorant than that. You hate somebody that you ain't never met based on how they look. That's like hating a book before you ever read it. I hate that book. That's the worst book in the world. I wonder why somebody writes some BS like ain't never read it. I read the Bible. I can tell you the Bible is an excellent rollout of the entire. You can use it for every aspect of conquest. The military
You
strategy
could never
in there.
know.
Yeah, the military strategy in there. The rearing of the generals to control the future. It's all in there.
The
I ain't mad
Jesus
at it.
story, he is a military leader. I don't see how people don't see that.
But the Jesus story is told to us wrong. It's incorrect in English. It's told to us all wrong. The preachers
Yeah, but if you
deliberately
look at
misleading
it,
the people.
if you look at it and you just read it, that was the weirdest thing that I never understood when I would. Well, I've actually done this with other things too, where I'm like, you did read the sentence, right? Like, I know that he's telling you it means this, but if you read the sentence, or if you can put a picture together, you could see that the Jesus person in there was a militant leader. Sorry, I got that one in high school. Sorry.
Well, it's two different people talking as the character they calling Jesus in the modern Bible. That's why I say it's
That's
written
true.
wrong. You got
Yeah, I have
you
seen a
got
lot of people when I told him you could tell that there was multiple GODs throughout the whole book
well that
itself.
is
I mean, it was like,
yeah, I tell you that in Psalms 82:6, even the character in the red says it's not written ye are gods, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that they have two people talking with two different idea sets.
oh
One is
yeah,
one is always talking this love and harmony and flower child generation bullshit, and the other one talking about we about to fuck this
Pick up your arm.
motherfuckers up. I don't give. Go sell off your garments, buy swords and knives. We taking these motherfuckers to war tonight, right?
Van Gogh, somebody.
Yeah. So they got two different characters talking as one person, and this is fucking up the minds of the people because they don't know the original story, so they'll never figure out why is it two different people. They don't even know enough to know that it's two different mindsets just talking in the red. They're not even
Yeah,
that educated.
even even in the Old Testament, you can tell that the Yahweh character changed over time too.
Well, yeah, because a lot of time when they translating as God, it ain't Yahweh, it's Adonai or it's El. Them the whole different personas, but they all translated as God, and if they ain't Lord, it's Baal translates as Lord. It's a couple more of them that translate as Lord. All of the time they saying Lord, they not talking about the same person.
Yeah,
All the
it's a
time they
type.
saying God in there, and when they translating, you think they're talking about Yahweh. They talking about a whole bunch of different gods. The gods of the Moabites was Chemosh, the mighty one.
Oh, how
He
do you spell
he,
that?
he mentioned in the Bible.
How do you spell that?
Chemosh.
You know, I always thought. I'm sorry. We're just chatting. I always thought that it was unusual. You know, like when you go through, when you read the Bible, if you're reading it from a studious standpoint, where you're trying to figure it out. I always thought it was strange that the um, what is it, how do you
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek? Yeah, they only show up twice in the whole Old Testament, but they were very important military times. I was like, who are these people? How come we don't have some more background on this?
That's
So that
because there's
one
other
always.
books. There's other books that didn't make the canon that it tells you who
What
Melchizedek, the ancient one,
is
was.
it?
They called him in Islam Al Qadar,
Say that
right?
again. I'm
I
sorry.
said that's because there's other books that didn't make the canon.
Yeah, no, but which ones have that order in it?
So the Melchizedek order is the Malachi Zodok, or my angel the just. It's the school of the just angels in English in translation, but it's called the priesthood of Melchizedek. The
That
writings of Melchizedek wouldn't make the Bible because they couldn't be used to deceive people. They could only be used to awaken people.
is
So
that those tablets that you had that video on?
um, some of those texts are in those tablets, the holy tablets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
So
definitely
yeah,
need that
so
one then.
Melchizedek came to Abraham in war. And when Abraham slew the Philistines, he gave him a tenth of his spoils. And that created the standard of what they call in the church tithing.
Which is totally different.
Yeah. What this is where they so called get it from.
Wasn't that also the angel that showed up for Joshua?
Yeah, because Melchizedek is the just angel,
Okay, yeah.
right?
Where he
So,
had to remove his
right.
feet or his
Now, what most people don't know is Melchizedek is the angel Michael. And the
Okay.
angels that fall under his command are under the order of Melchizedek. So in the New Testament, and it say, like your Lord Jesus, who was made a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. That means that the character that they call in Jesus was taught by the Melchizedek priest school to be under the command of the archangel Michael in order to battle, the war on earth that started in heaven. So then they're telling you that character was under that priesthood and assigned the mission to come in under the orders of Melchizedek in order to correct some wrongs that people ain't been seeing.
Would it surprise you if I told you that my second near-death experience, I saw somebody that told me they were Michael?
No, it wouldn't shock me at all. It wouldn't shock me at all you gotta remember your psychic perception is steered by your interpretation of what they gave you in the three-dimensional world.
Yeah, because I don't think they would call themselves that now. At that time, I didn't call myself a Christian, but I was studying Christianity.
But that ain't got nothing to do with the church.
Well, I would have framed it in my mind, though, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
My psyche would have put it in that framework.
Yeah. A lot of us think that only Christians and Muslims and Jews talk about angels. Angel mean messenger. The implication is that God sent a messenger. But right there in their book, it say, be careful how you treat a stranger, for many is entertain angels unaware. You entertain people coming to help you in your path, but you've been pouring dirt on them, and you didn't even know they was your angel, your messenger. But most of us only view it through the light of the lens that the church painted for us. So we be confused about the information that's coming in because what the church has influenced us to perceive has been altering our perception on purpose.
They do a good job on that. Because they act like some of them are just, like, they look like the cherubs that they make those little porcelain things out of.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how they're described. Actually, in the wording, they're not described that way. And then my favorite go-to on that was like, did you miss the Gabriel episode where he shut that man's mouth up? He literally was just like, you can't talk anymore. That's an action. That's I mean, to me, I was like, how can you not comprehend that first of all that they would have some type of power where he could do that, and then he took an action that most people would take offense to. Does that make sense? Like, this isn't some guy that just brought you some love notes. It's
Yeah.
weird.
But most of the time, the ones that have what they call angelic missions, they let you do whatever. They don't give a fuck what you do. They nonchalant with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, they not finna try to tell you, don't go fuck that nigga up. Yep, go ahead, fuck him up. Don't go sleep with that trashy hoe. Go on sleep with her. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Because they only concerned about giving you the message. They ain't concerned about how you live your life. There's
Right.
too many people concerned about other people's opinions that they can't live their own life. And they end up relegated to the gossip circle to spread information. Yeah. All right, sweetie, I'm about to wrap it up now. I think I've been on here long enough.
Okay. Sorry, I was taking up a lot of your time today. I appreciate it. We
That's
went a
okay.
few topics there, so.
Well, I think that you came by a mission. You needed to learn a couple of things. I hope you review this a couple times because you had some.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you had.
I want to look up that title you mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
too.
Okay. And you can inbox me if you have any questions.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. All right, fam. I'm about spent now. I'm about ready. Got the munchies, and it's time for me to be done chiefing with the chief. Hope I educated y'all on some things and uh, shine a little light on a few topics. I didn't have no plan when I came on here. I'm just gonna let it turn out how it turned out, and it turned out how I did. So with that, I catch y'all later, and I'm finna go find warm me up some red beans and rice my sister brought me.